Oh man, it actually worked this week. I had this brief moment where like you hit the button and you go live, and then there's like this brief like second where you're not sure. And I'm looking over at my other screen over here, and I'm like, am I going live? Am I going live? Am I going? Oh my god! And so when it went live, it was like, oh, thank God. So here I am.
Did you clench your cheeks a little bit?
There was just a little bit of clenching. I watched Deadpool and Wolverine last night, so there was definitely some brown pants moments happening there for sure.
Excellent. I enjoyed that movie. So,
what's that?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie.
I thought it was great. Without giving too much away, obviously Wolverine's in it, and I really loved the way they handled Logan, because Logan was a fantastic movie, and that's one thing I was worried about, and they handled it extraordinarily well. They only said the F word several hundred times, and otherwise, just the cameos were amazing, and the story was actually kind of good. And yeah, overall, I was really pleased. I was happy. Thank you to Ken. He handed me a link to watch it, so I didn't have to go to the theater, which was really awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's see here. Well, how are you doing today? Todd's going to be producing today, so he'll be reading comments and putting things up on the screen for me.
Like Gary saying hello.
Yeah.
Steven. And this guy.
Yeah, that guy. Producer Todd. Chase is here.
It's good.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, we'll wait a couple more minutes before kind of getting going. When we do get going, we'll start out with a mail call. Obviously, want to share with the group the gift that Ken gave me. And then I woke up, not woke up, I was awake this morning, but Gary sent me a message on Discord saying, hey, open up the package, or open that up on stream. And I'm like, oh, the markers? Sure, yeah, of course. So that's like, I really want to use them, so of course. And then he didn't respond, and I get home from work a little less than an hour ago, and there's a package sitting there from Gary. So I have a piece of mail from Gary that I'll be unboxing, I guess, so to say. I have no idea what's in it. So I've seen some of the gifts that Gary has given, and I'm just like, once again, blown away by the support for the channel. And, I don't receive gifts well at all. A lot of us don't. So I'm just going to accept it very graciously and say thank you to everyone who just contributes their time or their support to the channel. I do really appreciate it. Getting close to some bigger milestones. I've picked up I think 10 subscribers in the last week or so. I kind of like a lot of my watch time. Like if you guys don't make YouTube videos, there's certain metrics you kind of want to follow, and they look at everything in like a 28-day range. And my watch time for hours is starting to really spike up there. Now I've created a lot of videos. I have over 200 videos now in my queue. That being said, the view, like I get a consistent amount of views on all of my videos every single time they release now. And people are just going back and watching things. Like I sometimes will look at my most recent Only Watch videos and I'm like, you guys really watch that Venator series a lot. So getting towards that 500 subscriber mark, getting close to the 4,000 or the 3,000 hour mark as well. So the kind of the big keys for being able to get to the next step with YouTube. I'm not trying to go big or anything like that, but it is nice to get some of that, like once again, you put out a lot of this content, and like for me, the way I kind of look at the payment for the work done is, if I'm able to get a lot of watch hours out of each video, if people are enjoying it for that amount of time, then that for me is like enough. But it would be nice for more subscribers so that start really getting into some of those benefits and perks of being able to get some subscriptions being taken care of. But so that's kind of what's going on, and yeah, it's been kind of cool. I've been able to figure out a way of putting out a lot of not a lot of content, but content every single week on a consistent basis, and YouTube likes that. So it's kind of cool to actually be there. And honestly, streaming has a big part of this. This is now, I think, my 4th week in a row with streaming. And I really enjoy it. It's just gonna be part of the regular routine. And it's still looking good. I should be there tomorrow night with Hobby Time. So, and I did throw a link to that down below in the description. I remembered. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. And we're about 7 minutes in. Let's just go ahead and talk a little bit of what we're going to do about today, or talk about what we're going to do today. First up, not first up, but we're gonna work on some more of the not the Razor Crest, but the Havoc Marauder. I want to get the weathering finished on this so I can get my clear on it and see what we can do next for the weathering on it. I really like the that sort of turquoise color that we picked up, or that we created for picking up the highlights, and it's turned out really good. Actually, I'm really surprised. So I'm gonna work on that a little bit. We're gonna take a look at some of the work that I've done this week. We're gonna pop open this bad boy. We're gonna be recording the episode tomorrow, I think, maybe even tonight if I have some time. But basically, I finished all the cargo stuff. The next portion of the mod for the Razor Crest. There is some actual mini figures that I have painted in here that I've actually done a pretty good job. So I want to share that with you guys. I need to finish painting these little pieces here in the corner. We need to finish painting those. And then we're going to go ahead and crack open the cockpit mod. And we're going to start taking a look at all of the pieces for the cockpit, because we're going to be finished up with the cargo bay this coming up Sunday. So that's going to be the plan for today. We'll see if we get all this done. I tend to talk more on these streams than actually build, but that's kind of the fun part. So yeah, but I think first, what do you think? Mail call?
Oh, for sure.
Is Todd there? Let's go ahead and do some mail call. So let's see here. Press that button. Is that button? Nope, that's not the button. Oh, I created something for that, and I'm figuring out how to do things. All right.
Stupid.
What's that? I think Todd's making noises back.
My head's.
Let's try that. Is that working?
That's working.
Okay. Yeah. No, let's do mail call.
All right.
My headset just decided to stop working. I don't know.
Oh my God. I was rewatching the stream from last week, and I heard what you said when I was like taking my headphones off when it stopped working. And I had a good laugh because you said something like, he's not prepared. Did you bother to put on underwear today or something like that? And it was pretty funny. And then you're like, yeah, he's not listening right now. So
And you weren't.
I was not. No, I could not hear a damn thing. It takes about, for whatever reason, it takes about 30 seconds for my Bluetooth to disconnect and then reconnect to my what's it called? My Echo device. So, hey Andrew, welcome. Welcome. Well, the first bit of mail call tonight, I did reveal last night on stream with the perfect grade on the Hobby Time Modeler stream. Ken Horvath, Ken's Hobby Bench. If you guys aren't aware, and most of you guys, if you're watching, you are aware that Ken is very generous with his time, knowledge, and money. He's already given me an incredible gift of more than a few models to add to my stash, including a very special model to me, and that's the 350 Enterprise, not the refit or the TOS, but the CVN 65. But I have the Tamiya 350 scale Enterprise aircraft carrier, and that model has a very special significance to me. So Ken is just incredibly kind with his time and all of the other things, and so last week I was doing work and I was using the Big Thumb markers, and I found that these, like I said, I found these around the house. I'm not quite sure like if I purchased them or Kat did or whatever, but these worked really well for what I was trying to do last week, with specifically like with the green strawberry mod. And then on stream last week, Ken was like, well, hey, do you want the real color markers? And I don't know how to say yes without feeling weird about it, so I just said yes. And they arrived yesterday, and this, I was playing around with it a little bit this morning, and if you guys haven't seen these, they're kind of amazing. Ian, Pitstain Hobbies, has an amazing review. So does Dave, Relentless Storm. And there are other reviews for these markers online on YouTube, and they're fantastic. I was playing around with it a little bit this morning, and it's a full marker set. This is going to be I guess this would be the military color set. They're releasing another set with more just basic colors here soon, Dave was saying. Relentless Storm. But there are, how many is it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. So 34 markers. And they're all the colors that we basically want to use for Star Wars and Star Trek kits. I'm looking forward to using it today a little bit on the Marauder and for some of the green strawberry stuff. I specifically want to paint these little photo etch pieces, and they're basically like scances that we're going to be putting into the Razor Crest. And I want to use these markers to paint that. These have already been primed, and so I just want to go ahead and paint that. But yeah, Ken hooked me up with this incredible gift. DHL is kind of amazing, by the way. This left Spain on Sunday evening and got here yesterday in the afternoon. It arrived in LA at like 11 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and then got from LA to Seattle at 11, and then they dispatched a courier, and it was here by like 5 or 6 o'clock yesterday. Kind of insane. I wish DHL handled, other shipping calls that we might need, And then this is from Gary. I have no idea what this is. Let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and open it from the bottom. Gary, I'm not sure. Do I need to worry about, is this just a label or is there something inside? I'm just going to go ahead and open it from the other side. I'm not sure if that was something inside of the label. Oh my. I'm seeing some electronics here.
My.
Oh my. Oh.
What's in here? What? That's a remote?
Going on here?
Uh-oh. Oh.
I think
Gary says it's okay.
Okay. I think I know what this is.
Oh no. Is this one of those things like Dave has?
Yes.
Oh, sick. Is it your logo?
Oh my God. Yes. Gary. Holy shit.
Oh wow.
Oh my God.
That is so cool.
Wow, Gary.
Wow.
Oh my God. All right.
Where'd he get the graphics? I didn't give them to him. I have them. I made them. He didn't ask me. It was a big surprise.
And that is all done by hand. Is this done with you? Is this an engraver or is this done by hand? Wow.
Well, plug it in, man. Let's see
That's
it go.
amazing. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Let's the note inside. Thank you. That was incredibly kind. It says, Jordan, just a little something for you for all of the entertainment you give to all of us watching. Thanks for everything. Thank you, Gary. This is an incredibly kind gift. And amazing. Let's light this bad boy up.
He says
you would not believe how long it took. I believe it. My God.
He said he used his laser. Oh, cool.
Oh, dude, using like just the fact that he uses laser beams on. Do I have a battery pack? I think I do. Or I'm gonna have to extend out. Hold on, I might be able to plug this in right here.
I feel like you need to turn all the lights off in your shop. Jordan is either speechless or his mic broke. I don't hear him. He says 1 second. Gary says he pulled the graphic from your site. Do you mean the header image from his YouTube channel? I have those graphics. I made those graphics. I could have given them to you.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Very strange. Hold on. I don't know this little mic for whatever reason just lost connection. Oh, I wonder if I'm pulling too much power from I guarantee you I'm pulling too much power through the USB right now. Hold on. I swear I have a well, I might just go with this mic then. I'm just gonna pull it out from behind my monitor real fast. There we are. Sorry for all the jostling around. Turn this off so it doesn't confuse my computer. Can't get through one of these streams where it's not strange, but the cool thing is because this has a microphone, or not the microphone, but the remote control, we can control the color. Oh, that is super cool, man.
That is crazy cool.
Dude, fantastic. I am going to need to clear out a spot. We're not going to put that in front of Kit, but we'll go ahead and set that right there so we can kind of see a little bit of that during the stream. Gary, thank you. That's an incredibly kind gift. Freaking amazing, man. Like the work, that craftsmanship, man. That is super cool. Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right.
Yep.
Echo, turn on overhead.
Okay.
And the flicker of the light goes away. There we are. Well, I am incredibly humbled. Thank you. And like I said, to all you guys who watch and have subscribed and watched the videos over time, I really do appreciate all the support. I don't receive gifts very well, like I said, and I don't need a whole lot of validation for doing this, and so like the validation is just the views and to be able to hang out with you guys and like actually have you guys just like come in and watch and hang out. Like that's the big thing for me. And things like this are just incredibly special, and I'll definitely treasure this. So thank you. So if we get all emotional about it, let's go ahead and do some reviews. Let's go ahead and review. Let's see the comments real fast. I switched to plugged-in headphones for the streams. Andrew was saying, yeah, I kind of need to. My headphone and audio setup right now is being a little bit finicky. I also think that I need to get a Wi-Fi extender, because sometimes I lose a little bit of Wi-Fi strength at this end of the house. Oh, you have one of these on your bench? Oh man, super cool. Oh, yeah. Man, the Enterprise ones I've seen a bunch of these, and I've always wanted to get one. We actually have, well, we have one. It's in our dining room, and it's a skeleton finger giving you a flip off. So, yeah, to actually have this like with my logo on it is it's nuttier than a squirrel turd, I say. So, wow, dude, freaking amazing. Pulled the graphic from my site. That is super cool. On that front, Mule shipment arriving, and that's going to be my keychains. Once the keychains arrive, I'm going to be shipping out a bunch of little goodie packages to everybody, and including you. Also, make sure to send you a keychain as well, Tom. So, yeah,
Excellent.
So,
the original box of U96 parts that disappeared.
uh-huh.
Now UPS saying is showing up tomorrow, but I already got the new box. So,
what are you gonna do?
I don't know. I'm gonna ask Heshet what they want to do with it.
Yeah,
they want them back. They want me to find somebody else to build it for them.
Yeah, Buck would probably be super interested in that.
Well, they have to be able to pick it up where they left off. You know what I mean? Like,
oh right.
How do you start a sub from 84 on? That's the thing.
Very true. Very interesting. Okay, well, on the moving on front, so we can actually get some stuff done today, let's go ahead and take a look at what I've done over the course of the last week. I started last week with getting some of our stowage taken care of, but it's been moved on to like actually finishing the entirety of the cargo stuff mod for the Green Strawberry set. And I'm actually kind of surprised at some of the work that I've done. So let's take a look over at this camera here. And this one, for whatever reason, I'm able to put a coffee cup sitting in the way. I'm able to get a little bit finer of a close-up with this one. And what this is the assassin droid that he killed in season 1. And it's just kind of sitting there on top of some stowage, so to say. This was all done with those markers, actually. Outside of the wash, I put basically I just went with the base color, and then I went over with a wash afterwards, kind of give it a little bit of weathering effect. But that turned out really good.
Yeah, it looks great.
That green really pops, and I didn't.
What in the world is that?
So it's a droid. It's kind of hard to like pick it out, but the green things are his eyes, and it's the body. Like it's all of the body. He basically kept the core of the body and then got rid of the arms and the legs, and he just kind of kept that as like a bit of a trophy sitting on the top. And you see it, I think at the end of season 2 or at the beginning of season 2, something like that. He killed it in season 1, and he just kind of kept it as a trophy. So this one sits. Let's go ahead and I'll bust out the Razor Crest, and I'll show you guys where they're all going to be positioned. That one is going to be sitting, well, at least in the show. Switch back over the top here. Zoom in a little bit. In the show, that particular piece was sitting right here. So I'm thinking about leaving that positioned or putting that right there as well. I've considered now asking the floor. I have thought about keeping this cargo stuff kind of interchangeable, so over time I can switch it around if I want to. Would it be a smart idea to use like the Uhu, like a small little dab of the Uhu on the bottom to just kind of fix it into place? That way I can kind of pick it up and move it later. Is that something that I could consider, or should I just consider gluing it all the way down? So
It's not. I don't know. Is it a toy? Are you going to play with it that often?
No.
Then I'd glue them in in an interesting visual way, and then just leave them.
Okay.
It's like all the electronics on your part work models. You know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna turn them on all the time. No, I'm not.
They're not. Exactly.
The ejector seats and the funny little things it does. You're like, yeah, I'm never gonna do those things.
Right. Okay. Well, good. So that's going to actually get glued in place right there. And then the next piece is the one that I'm actually the most proud of. And I'm just going to go ahead and get this out of the way early. And this way it's really hard to pick up what exactly it is. And hopefully the camera can do it some justice. Let's get some light there.
That's his armor. So
that is Boba Fett's armor. And this is after he takes it from Cobb Vanth. In the season 1 of the Mandalorian, or season 2, episode 1 of the Mandalorian, he took the armor from him in exchange for getting rid of the giant sandworm creature, the Krayt Dragon, and he takes the armor and he leaves it sitting like right in the entryway, and this is what Boba Fett sees at the end of season 2 when he goes in and grabs his armor. And so I went in and watched the episode and saw how everything was kind of laid out, and they actually did an amazing job of recreating just what this looked like. And I was actually able to paint it. Like, I got everything pretty accurate. Hopefully it focuses up a little bit here. In the center. Back behind. Let's try going over the top camera here. So the jetpack is also in his armor's colors. There you go. Yeah, the backpack was all weathered up. I even was conscious about if you look in the side of the backpack, it's all shadowy, so you can't see anything inside there. Obviously, you wouldn't, but I didn't paint through that. I was actually really conscious of how this was supposed to be looking, and so I feel pretty proud
really good
about it. Yeah, this is the first time, when I took the picture of it, up close, and I put it on Discord, I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And then I did the perspective, of my hand, and I'm like, oh, my God, I actually did that. And then we went through, I have the 4 different guys in carbonite. I went ahead and painted up all the carbonite, and then, let's focus up a little bit here. Got the carbonite done in the flat silver or the flat aluminum, and then I took some of our weathering or some of our wash. Oh, thanks, Gary. Really appreciate that. I took some of our wash and put it over the top and left it sitting as much into the corners and everything as possible to really give the depth to the guys in carbonite. That's not what I did with Boba Fett in the Slave 1 that I took to Winterfest.
I feel like those should be darker.
My regrets on that build. So,
do you think those should be darker?
That's one of the things I was just about to ask.
Should that gunmetal I used on the Falcon engines? That was a great color.
It was, and I actually used that gunmetal. Where did I use it?
Or you know what? Even that dark iron, that would look great too, because the carbonite's really dark. Yeah.
So here is.
And then you could silver dry brush it to bring out the details.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I did here. So this is the gunmetal, and then I went ahead and created those little baskets that sit right there. This is the roof piece, so this sits right over the top.
I gotcha.
So I did that there. So it's specifically gunmetal then I took the silver brush and I tried to pick up some of the highlights as much as I possibly could. That's not a bad idea here as well. So it's definitely something to consider. And then what I did as well is I basically went with the Ewok that he has inside of the carbonite, and I perish the thought of what that Ewok did to deserve such a fate. This one I did not paint the back on because this one is actually going to be, I'm going to set these down. So inside of here, this piece right here is the device that encases them in carbonite. What my thought is I want to have this one sitting kind of slightly at an angle like that one, like that. where you just carbonized it and it hasn't had a chance to like get dull or anything. And that's why I chose not to paint the back of that one. And this has happened to me more than a few times where I have to shake the parts out. And then there are the two that are going to go onto the ceiling portion of it. And these two, these rails, so this is the rear of the ship, they fit in just like this. So let's go ahead and position one right now. So they fit in. This little tab that sits at the top fits directly inside there. So you can actually like sit it within the rail and it will actually move around a little bit. So these get positioned like that and will be hanging from the roof of the crest when it's displayed. So I'm gonna have two of those guys hanging, and then I left one a little bit more weathered up. I also painted the buttons. I went white, green, and red, and I used a toothpick to paint the buttons. I still need to do a little bit more work with that. I'm not quite satisfied with the quality of it, but I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm just going to move on. But I wanted to have one that was a little bit more beat up, so I weathered it up around the edges a little bit more. I took some of my Tamiya weathering kit and just brush it with a little bit more silver around the outside to give the impression that it's been around for a minute. And this one, for the diorama, I want this one to be the one that is getting pushed out of the bottom of the ship. So, yeah, I kind of thought about how I'm going to display it also as well as we're going forward. What else did I do? Did a ladder, and as crazy as this was a pain in the freaking ass. Photo etch is difficult. Green strawberry photo etch is delicate and precious at best. They gave you an extra one of these in the kit just in case you break them. They gave you 2 extra ladders, and I almost busted this one, but managed to get it done right. I still need to paint it a little bit more to take out a little bit more of the brass. Painting metal flake over metal can be a little bit of a challenge, I'm finding. So one of the things I'm learning about photo etch.
Well, and it's like, it's not even paper thin. It's even thinner than that.
It really is. Like, okay.
So thin,
and
yeah.
Just for case in point, why did I do this to myself? These nets that go along the wall. Oh my God. This one I separated from the sprue, we'll call it that. Like, it's literally, it flops around, and we're going to have to kind of like take it and roll it a little bit. So it has hooks, by the way, at the top that we're going to have to bend and then hook into place right up at the very top up here. So good luck to me on that one. I don't know if I'm going to be using any of this other netting. One of the things, and I'll mention this in the episode when I recorded this week, one of the things that I have noticed is that they don't assume, because of the cost of the whole entire fruit pack, they don't assume that you're going to be buying the entire thing. Like, the entire thing not on sale is like $414 US before shipping. It can wind up being almost $500 for the entire fruit pack. And so they're not assuming that you're going to get the whole thing. And so there's a lot of overlap on parts, which I actually really appreciate. They gave us extra netting because if they weren't sure if you're going to be getting the actual cargo bay mod. They also give you parts for in the cargo bay mod itself. They also give you some photo etch and parts for the cockpit in case you don't get the cockpit mod. There's a lot of double up happening with like the exterior photo etch and the landing gear photo etch. So they really, one thing that I do appreciate about it is they kind of give you extra, and I'm going to actually wind up with a bunch of extra photo etch pieces left over. Obviously, like, Todd, what is your Greebly, like, do you have a lot of like extra just model bits laying around?
No, because the part works don't come with spare parts like that.
It's true. It's true.
If I did build a lot more plastic part models, I probably would, yeah.
So then, question for chat. Do you guys have big piles of parts laying around? Because I'm starting to accumulate quite a bit, like little like pieces of just models that you don't wind up using. Like this kit itself, my God, like I think I removed 46 pieces from the stock kit to replace it with the green strawberry stuff. So like I could build part of a Razor Crest just from the spare parts. So, and let's see what else. But yeah, to complete the thought, they do give you a lot of extra overlap and extra parts to kind of supplement in case you don't want to get the whole fruit pack, which is
Ender
nice.
says he's got lots of Enterprise E parts.
That is correct. You do, because the amount of models, like, oh my God, dude, like, how many would you have? Or Andrew, how many Enterprise E's have you built now? That's a good question. So here are all of our bits, all of the different bits of stowage that was painted. This is where I found the limitations of those markers. They weren't quite as precise as I was hoping for, specifically in getting the lines. And so my nice, what was going to be my Starfleet style container, I wound up just weathering up, getting it nice and dirty, just so it like pops, but it didn't quite get the effect that I was looking for. But yeah, those are all the different like little stowage pieces. 2 and 3 and 4 is on the schedule. Oh my God.
Yeah, but you've seen his wall, right? Those are all box tops of model kits. He's got a lot.
Yeah.
So there's parts everywhere.
I can only imagine what someone like Buck has. Like,
oh, yeah.
Just piles of them laying around. And that's where kit bashing comes into play. And that's something that I would like to do later on. Kit bashing sounds like a lot of fun to do. So, didn't they had at Wonderfest this year, one of the rooms they had was a kit bashing room, right?
Yep.
That sounds like fun. Although the class is kind of that paint airbrush class was tiring by the end of the day.
Yes.
That's for certain. So that's what I got done this week. When it comes to what needs to be done to finish up for recording this week is actually just those little pieces, the scances that are left over here. And I realized in looking in here, I also forgot to put these two. Let's grab a pair of tweezers here. There are these 2 little photo etch pieces that are supposed to go underneath the wall grid that was put on there. Wow. I may try. I may try. Oh, so most of those box tops are from kits when you were a kid or a team. Okay, cool. Yeah, because I was about to say, you had a pretty impressive collection of vintage kits. Those are all the ones I remember seeing in my hobby shops when I was a kid. All right. So, here are the sconces. And there are 8 of these. And they have these 3 little openings in the front. I get the sense that they wanted us to put a filter in there or something so that we could use this for actual lighting. I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to choose to not use the filter. I did find the filter later that they wanted us to use. I'll go ahead and show that real fast. Set these down. These things, by the way, with these big Lincoln Log fingers were impossible to fold properly. So, and these are the little filters. And by filter, it's just a paper filter. They wanted us to cut out in that grid those little pieces to fit inside of here and then fold the photo etch around that without damaging anything. Like, seriously? Like, I know I live in Seattle, but are they high? Like, seriously. So that wasn't going to happen.
You need those little hands that go on the end of your fingers, and you can use those.
Dude, seriously, I can't even, like, the fact that I've not broken any of this photo etch since the very beginning has kind of blown my mind a little bit. I got to be honest. Like, it was on the very first piece that I folded, and it's going to be that one right up here. It's kind of hard to pick out now at this point. So like if we look down the end of the hallway down there, if you look at the photo etch on the very back wall, there was a lot more detail that was there that I just never was able to achieve. And in hindsight, I'm glad, because you never want to be able to see it anyway. A lot of this, because of the way that this mod is built, basically you're going to be looking at it from one of three angles. So we'll go back here. You're either going to look at it from straight down and in to see all the detail, or you're going to be looking at it from this side and looking up towards the bathroom and the bedroom, or you're going to be looking down towards that side into the cargo bay. So like there's not a whole, like you can kind of get away a little bit with not going super high detail, but that's kind of not the spirit of what I was looking for. Is like I want you to look down there and like pick out things and see things, and that's specifically what this mod is all about. So for these pieces where they are installed is right here. There's gonna I am so not looking forward to doing this at all. Like I guarantee you when I record this, it's going to be just me. Like you're going to see a bunch of cuts going bop, 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 and done. Like this is not going to be fun. But these mount up just right up above the photo etch. And this is actually, they create the piece that the ceiling sits on. So there's going to be 4 on one side and I believe 3 on the other. Actually, no, it's 4. It's 3 and 3, and then 1 and 1. So 3 on each one of the main parts, and then 1 up here on each one of these sides. We'll see. But for the sake of doing it properly, we're going to go ahead and paint them, and let's go ahead and start today. So enough talking. I've been talking literally for 41 minutes. My God. So but that's what streaming is all about. Doing a little bit of talking. So let's see. I want to use the markers for this. And I'll look at I wonder what I need to do is I need to take some photo, or I need to basically scan the art of the Mandalorian book so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. But I'm going to look here real fast. Look at the colors on that. I just want to make sure. So what I have for my colors on the inside, I hand brushed because I wanted to create some highs and some lows with the paint to give the impression of just weathering over time. I used NATO green as... did I use NATO green? No, I did not. This one I used olive drab as my wall color, and then on these resin pieces I painted them the dark iron, and then I went over them with the titanium on the weathering kit. And then on all of my grid pieces on the wall, I went and used I did 2 colors. I did gunmetal as the base, and then I highlighted with some silver. And then I've used flat aluminum as my base. So basically like olive drab, aluminum, dark iron. Yeah. So those are all the colors that I've used. And so I think for that, dark aluminum is what we should use. And it's right there. Let's go ahead and start. What are your experience with using these, Todd?
I haven't used them yet. I used. Did I use one of them for something? I know I used one of them.
The perfect grade?
Oh, I was gonna. No. I was gonna do it. I was trying to see if there was a color that matched the ribbon cable on the Ecto 1 roof rack, but it wasn't the right brown. They didn't have the right brown.
So you haven't had a chance to use.
So I just ordered you. It's on its way. Somebody has to buy something on your stream, right? You remember that? Remember that little precision vise I bought? That little baby vise that has little rubber tips so you can hold small things?
Yeah.
So I bought that for you because it also has a photo etch bender on the base.
Oh my God.
To help you bend your photo etch.
Thank you. I appreciate you, my friend. Wow. Wow. Steven says you have not sent me to sleep yet, Jordan. Yeah, it's what? Almost midnight your time, Steven? Well, thank you, Todd. That's incredibly kind. Appreciate you. I'm actually like wondering how I should approach. Oh, I do have this little thing here. I'm trying to think of how I should approach painting it. So what I'm going to do is the part that I'm going to mount to the wall. I'm going to put that flat on there. It's 12:45 a.m. My goodness. Oh, Steven, I appreciate you being here. My goodness. It is still very bright and hazy out here today. Todd, I hear you are getting tired of the summer, huh?
I'm tired of the heat. I really am.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. The storms are at least coming now, though, because we had a storm come through last night, and it's supposed to be another one today. So I sent you the order number and the link to the Vice in Discord.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Keep an eye on it.
Oh,
Stephen
wow.
Haynes says it's 12:45 in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. This does have. I did make sure to go through and.
Should I put that here? I'll put a link in. I'll put a link in your chat. This
Perfect.
is the Vice. It's a great little Vice. It's got a ball head, and it's got little rubber feelers, so you can grab delicate parts, just for holding small pieces that you need to work on, or
Right.
something. It's got a rubber pad you can stick on the bottom, so it doesn't move around, and then it just happens to have a little photo edge bender built in, and it comes with a razor blade to do the photo edge bending.
Oh my god. All right, let me see if I can share the screen as well here. Might be able to share screen. Go what? Present. Share screen.
And I wasn't sure if Hobbyist Haven was a scam or not, but I did order, and I got all of the stuff. So
Nice.
it's one of those things it just popped up on Facebook out of nowhere. And I'm like, uh-oh, is this a scam? But they do have a lot of good stuff.
So there it is. That is super cool, man. Wow. Wow. Yeah, the Vice that I have, nowhere near as precise as that. Very cool. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
You guys are awesome. All right.
Andrew says, I keep seeing people posting photos of winter weather on social media telling us not to complain about the heat because the snow is coming. I think bring it on. I wasn't built for the heat. Yeah.
Dude, seriously.
I've always said this is my feeling on the heat. You can only get naked in when it's hot, right? And then you
That's
need
right.
some kind of artificial cooling, air conditioner, ice, whatever it is. At least in the winter, you can keep bundling up. Your
That's
body
right.
makes heat.
That's right.
You know,
You can keep adding more and more and more.
keep adding layers until you look like, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I don't care.
That's right. That's right. I always tell people, like, I live in Seattle for a reason. And these last few years have been much hotter. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's like,
You know what? But we could have the next 3 years could be freezing cold too. So,
Exactly. You never know.
Mother Nature's a
Okay.
fickle woman.
So there is the first coat with the dark aluminum from the Real Colors. I gotta say, that point is really nice, and the paint goes on very nice. It dries really quick too.
Yeah. Andrew says, that said, it is harder to paint in the winter. You just got to warm your paints, man.
Yeah. I was thinking about all the difficulty I was having with the resin windows, and it was because of how cool it was. And
oh yeah, no, you got to have a little hot water bath.
Yep.
And keep the resin keep the bottle in the hot water.
Yeah, keep it a little warm.
Yeah, like they make those like USB-C self-warming coffee cups.
I actually purchased one of those and haven't had a chance to use it yet because The weather's been warm enough where I haven't had to worry about it. But at your recommendation, actually, I did pick one of those up. This thing has been wonderful for small detail work.
I cheat and I put a piece of blue tack on the end of a stick.
I've been doing that too, but I'm finding that for whatever reason, I like just the ability. I realize I'm off screen. I'll probably zoom out a little bit here. There we go.
Yeah, but the bar, the arched bar for resting your hand on is what I'm missing.
Yeah, like just be able to position my thumb or your finger wherever. Like, oh my god, it's made a huge difference. That, and then the my helping eyes, as I like to call them, with the magnifiers.
Your googlies?
My googlies.
Andrew says that's why he will be leaving his stream periodically tomorrow, or leaving the stream, our stream, I assume. He will be getting more hot water to heat the solar res.
Yeah. Should look at getting a bench kettle.
Well, even just like I said, they make self-warming coffee mugs. That not like a tall tumbler, but just something small that you can keep your bottle of resin in or paint, just to keep it warm.
Yep.
Because the resin temperature of the resin makes a big difference in how it flows and the bubbles and everything.
It's all about bubbles. I was really surprised by that. Also, as well as storing the resin upside down, I store both the feeding bottle, like the big one, plus the small one. I keep them both upside down now, and it's really helpful with keeping all the air out. Also, as well, having the proper bottles for that. I had those clear ones in the beginning. Oh my god!
And if anybody orders anything from Hobbyist Haven, by the way, do you care if I put this in your chat?
Please.
There's a coupon code for 10% off.
Very cool. Thank you. I was kind of following the you posted about it and you're like, I don't know if this is real, and then the same day you're like, wait, this is real. I should put 2 of these on one of these so I can get 2 of them done at the same time.
Well, I wasn't sure. I knew they could just take your money and then say, "Oh no, it's coming. It's definitely coming." But they're based out of Spain, and they're a drop shipper, right? Basically, so the packages came from 3 or 4 different places because I bought like 6 things,
right?
But they all arrived about the same time, like within a day of each other. So
cool. What happened to me? My only experience of anything like that, like buying from a site that you just completely don't know or trust. I got in the middle of the pandemic. It was one of those gigantic beanbag chairs, the ones that like fill up half the room or whatever. I bought one of those off of the Facebook Marketplace or one of those ads on Facebook. I waited, I think, 6 to 8 weeks for it to show up. And when it did, I get this text from my roommate, and she's like, hey, this is before I was living here. She's like, hey, your beanbag chair arrived. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, is it huge or whatever? And she's like, yeah, it's, quote, huge. I get there, and it's literally, it was literally a beanbag this big.
Like a demo beanbag?
Like a demo beanbag. Yes, that's what they sent me, was the demo one. And I paid, like, it was still like $60. Oh, my God. I felt like such an idiot. Kat still roasts me about that to this day.
Oh, God. Okay, Dash is here. You're always late, Dash. Oh, and Ken is here.
Hey, Ken.
We're just talking about you, Ken, and how generous and gracious you are.
Yes, indeed. What's funny, Ken, is when you posted I'm Just a Man in Discord, I wanted to find, they didn't have the GIF on, what was it, on the tenor thing on Discord, but it was the guy from Star Trek Insurrection, where the Baku guy, where he was like, I'm but a man. What is a man if a machine replaces him, or something like that? And I was trying to find that, and I realized it was more funny in my head than actually in person, so I didn't pursue it any further. So, Howard's on a different phone. Very cool. Well, thanks for joining, Howard. Now, I know you wanted to ask something last night, Howard, but you weren't able to hop onto the stream, and you had a Star Trek question, so feel free to ask that question. Be glad to answer. as it's what I seem to do on these streams these days. Knight Rider, or the kit update. It seems that they have switched up my special gift to something different in the series of special gifts. So I'm hoping that they're going to send the next set of parts out soon, because all the parts are still there, and none of the stages are showing out of stock. But I think the special gift was out of stock, and it was the Knight Rider shirt that's not going to fit me. So it's now.
I don't think it fits anybody. None of those shirts do. I give them all away.
Exactly. So do I. I also gave the Falcon hat away as well.
Yep, same here.
My big stupid head. I wear a size 8 head. That ain't gonna fit.
Oh, do you want me to show you? I can show you the. Remember, I told you I got that Union Pacific hat.
Oh yeah, please.
Here, I'll show it to you. You can see my ugly mug on camera here. I mean,
yes.
This. Oh, hang on. Hold, please. Put this on here. There we go.
I love that background so much.
There we go. Anyway, let's go to this real quick. So this is it. Oh.
Oh man.
Big boy.
Big boy on the side of it. Oh my god.
Because I don't wear hats, but if you want this,
sure.
I'll have to send this to you.
Yeah. Anytime we exchange a parcel, that'd be great. I do wear hats, although a little less frequently since I've grown my hair out, although I've been contemplating cutting it. So we'll see. One thing I like about my current hairstyle in the man bun is that I don't have to go to the barber. I can cut my own hair. So I can shave my head. I just don't know how to cut hair properly. So that's why I go with the man bun. And just shave the sides and let the top grow because I'm lazy.
Andrew would like to know, can you opt for no special gifts and pay less?
No. Nope. I mean, you probably no. I was going to say if you buy it off of eBay, but no, you're just going to pay the full price and not get any of the special gifts. So
that's right. The gifts are a subscription only thing for subscribing.
Yep.
And they don't really separate them.
Yeah, they're great, but I mean, they're also not what you're looking for. Although I will say, this is the greatest gift. The Star Trek mug. I've not put this in the dishwasher once, so never put this thing in the dishwasher. But this is the greatest coffee cup. I've used it literally every single day since I got it. It is fantastic. Love it. Great gift. These are really expensive if you just go to find one of these on CBS.com. Or StarTrek.com or whatever. They're stupid expensive.
They are out there, but they're very expensive, yes.
Yeah, they're fantastic coffee mugs.
So here's Howard's question. So what about the prequel movie they are doing that's before the Kelvin timeline? They're supposed to be even before that.
Oh, so they're talking about the they're doing before the Kelvin timeline. Oh, so basically what they're doing, because all right, so Star Trek is broken into two different arms. You have the movie franchise, and then you have TV arm, which is part of CBS or Paramount Plus. They're not related to each other, other than just kind of a name. So in order for them to make a new Star Trek movie in the movie franchise, right now, I think the whole Star Trek 4 thing is causing some issues. Basically, they set it as a prequel set before both Enterprise and before the Kelvin timeline, which happens about 15 years before the original series was supposed to happen, or 25 years before the original series was supposed to happen. So basically look at that as a prime timeline prequel. There's been talk about it, but I don't see it actually getting off the ground. I don't see like I'm having a hard time right now seeing Star Trek 4 get off the ground. Hey PJ, thanks for joining us. I don't see Star Trek 4 getting off the ground right now unless they actually do what Chris Pine suggested, and it was something that I really appreciated him saying. And it shows me that he's like taking the time to go back and watch some Star Trek or whatever. He mentioned that the best Star Trek, some of the best Star Trek episodes and movies and shows and what have you are done without these huge budgets and without trying to tell this big grandiose story. And what he said in the article was specifically that where he felt that his story, his timeline stories went wrong was just the gigantic budgets. And he wants to make a Star Trek movie on a small budget. He wants the actors to shine through. He wants it to be what Star Trek is at its core, which is a show about people and the human condition, right? So he's like, give us a small budget, give us a good story, and let us shine through, and we will get another movie beyond that one. And so I really appreciated that thought, because he's right. Some of the best Star Trek, like you look at Star Trek 2, 3, and 4. After totally blowing their wad on Star Trek the Motion Picture because they were trying to compete with Star Wars, Paramount was just like, no, we are not going to overspend. And so Star Trek's 2, 3, and 4 were made on half the budget of Star Trek 1. And 2, 3, and 4, like 3 is, 4 is the only one that really stands up well. Like, just because it's more of a fun story. But if you're a Star Trek fan, yeah, it's kind of hard to go back now, like after all the years of watching Star Trek, like when Scotty's talking about the Energizers and you're like, what are you talking about, bro? But those movies, like as a whole, are some of the best Star Trek because they literally force the actors to act and do a better job of trying to convey the story that they're telling. And so I really appreciated him saying that because I full and wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. The Kelvin timeline, I really don't mind. I really don't mind it. Like the movies themselves are great action movies. They're great movies, but they're just not Star Trek. Like they have Star Trek on the surface, but it's not really like Star Trek, and I'm fine with that. As long as they take the time to respect the characters and the stories that they were given. Like I personally don't want them to try to make Chris Pine more William Shatner. Like Chris Pine's Kirk is just fine. Just like Paul Wesley's Kirk in the new Strange New Worlds. His Kirk is also totally fine. And so, yeah, I don't know. Like I do find it interesting. And so long way of answering your question, Howard, is they're basically going to take, if they do actually get that idea off the ground, it's going to be a story that takes place before Star Trek Enterprise. So you're talking like with Zephyr Cochrane was still around, and they were going through like the Warp 2, Warp 3, and Warp 4 projects, where the Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise was the Warp 5 project. And that was done by Captain Archer's dad and him. They were the designers of that warp core. And so it could be anything in there. Their first encounters with the Andorians, for instance, or the first encounters with the immediate space right around them. The inner politics. Like one of the things that I really liked about Star Trek Enterprise was Ambassador Saval, and how he just looked at humans with complete contempt. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and Starfleet and Archer and Admiral Force and them pushing back against the Vulcans. I'd like to see more of that. Like I'd be totally fine with them trying to do something like that. I'm just more concerned with, like, if I were to say any sort of concerns with Star Trek right now, is like I do have concerns that like with the Starfleet Academy show. I'm a little nervous about it. No, Eric, welcome. No, but I'm just casually, as I'm like over here waxing on about Star Trek, I'm like sticking myself to the blue tack here. So there's that. But yeah, I do have some concerns about the Starfleet Academy series, and they're going to be doing an Office / Park and Recs style comedy series with Star Trek. And if they were to do that, it's probably going to be Starbase 80. They've already kind of like, how do you put it? They kind of like insinuated that Starbase 80 was like a bunch of idiots in season 4, I think, of Lower Decks. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like Starbase 80 being that comedy show. I have no problem with an Office style comedy with Star Trek. I just really worry that they're going to maybe take it just a little too far and on the nose. Like, I think Lower Decks is about as far too on the nose as like I want to go. So yeah, I have concerns with like the TV side of things, especially after Lower Decks finishes and now that Discovery is over with. Like, I'm kind of curious to see which way they're going to go. So yeah, that was a lot of words.
I wasn't going to interrupt you.
So, let's say Ken just said, I just ate a fortune cookie, and it's being kind to others will bring rewards. Well, and to go back to a similar thought from earlier, echo what Donnie said in Discord. It's rare people today to be kind and giving like that. And so thank you, my friend. Like, that is, to be kind and giving to others is what we all should want to strive for. And so this is going to get paid forward at some point to someone. I'll pay it forward in some way. So
Eric's got a question for you.
Oh, so Eric, you haven't had a chance to see. Gary went ahead and made this for me. Isn't that freaking amazing? All done, like he said with he was done with his laser, and it took a very long time for him to do. So this is incredible. It's incredible. Does the AK on the box stands for awesome, Ken?
Maybe it does.
Yes, it does. Oh my god. Awesome, Ken. I love it.
Yeah, Gary did a good job on that. That thing is fantastic.
Gary is an incredible artist. The one that he did for Dave, I was just like in awe of. And in no way, that I think that, you never assume anything, right? And so when I saw that like package, I was like, wait, could it be this? And sure shit. It is. Gary, amazing. Such an amazing gift. Feeling quite humbled today. I agree he needs to sell those. Hey, Don, welcome to the show. You're late to the party. Whatever. That's fine. We're all here. That's all that matters. So, let's see here. After going on about Star Trek for a little while, let's, what should I do? I know what to do. First step. All these are dry. I'm going to get these into the parts.
Did he do one for Donnie? I don't know. Did you do one of those acrylic displays for Donnie?
I think he may have. Possibly.
Huh. I haven't seen it, maybe.
Yeah. What was it? I think, yeah, he got some. Well, regardless, fantastic gift. I'm just blown away. All right. So I'm going to be recording all of this. This actually should be a fairly easy, well, everything minus that. Those are the guns that are already done. But this should be a fairly easy episode for me to record. It's just a few parts that we're going to be assembling, although I'm really looking forward to that because that kind of marks the end of the thing that, what was it? I think the mod that had me the most, like between the lighting and the mods that were the most difficult, that I was the most daunted with, and the reason why I didn't wind up taking this model to Wonderfest was the cargo bay mod. And it's taken me, I'd probably say about a good 20, 25 hours worth of work just to get all of the individual parts like put together and all that. And I'm glad that I took the time to do it. And so to get this put into place this weekend and release that part of the build, I'm really super excited about, because after that, we get to focus on the lighting, which is something that I've been thinking about nonstop since last stream. And I really thought about what you said, Todd, about kind of approaching the lighting from more of like a cinematic standpoint, like focusing on what to highlight and using filters and what have you. So
yeah, like a theatrical. That's what I was thinking about with the, like, even the, like the cargo is, how does it look when you look through the two cargo doors, right?
Right.
What angles are you
Exactly.
going to see? How are things stacked? Everything doesn't have to be perfectly square with the walls. It can be off center a little bit. It can be leaning against the wall, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. So how do we stage it to look like, how we
Heck
want
yeah.
it to look? And so that's all I've been thinking about. And so that's what I really want to focus on in the next episode. And then after that, it's going to be lighting. And lighting, I'm going to have to think about a little bit, because I believe I'm going to need to drill probably 1 or 2 holes in this piece to be able to get some lighting down into the rear portion of the cargo bay. So that's what I'm going to be thinking about. This little hole right here is where the ladder goes up to the backside. It really doesn't go, it goes up to an empty portion of the ship. It's basically going to be going, so when this piece fits on, it's going to fit in right here, basically. And then the cargo, or the cockpit sits in right about this space right here. And then there's going to be probably about that much of a gap between the top of the ship and what have you. So this is where, like, I'm going to be putting the Arduino and all of that directly on top of this. And so I have to think about that a little bit. Opinion, Todd, should I go with a Uno or a Nano for this build?
Oh, you don't need an Uno. That's just that you aren't going to need that many input outputs. There's plenty on a Nano.
Okay, perfect. So that's perfect. I was the one who decided to pick up Dave's wash and cure station. So I'm at some point here in the coming months, as my financial situation improves, I'm going to be looking at getting into the 3D printing game, specifically for stuff like this, so that I can mount Arduinos and wire, like LED mounts and stuff like that. Because it's just got me thinking about like lighting. Like you could LED, or you could 3D print a light tube, to fit in specifically to point directly where you want it to go, and it just sits in there. Like I've thought a lot about that, and the applications for 3D printing is kind of insane. And so, to be able to get that wash and cure station is like $100 thing that I don't have to spend. So, well, cool. On that front, that's fantastic. But I do need to think about, when it comes to lighting and all that, and position of my Arduino. I need to think about all that. So, yeah, that's what's going to be happening in the coming weeks for this one. So we'll come back here. I want to work a little bit on the Marauder, as I want to get some of this weathering done. I want to go ahead and get this cleared and finished and get it out of the way, because this one I wanted to get it done for a while now after I finished the series. I think I finished the series back in February or whatever, but I do want to go through and finish up the weathering and then go ahead and get our clear put on. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. Let's see here. What is everyone saying in chat? Howard's saying it was wood, he believes, the one that for Donnie and from Gary. Would Todd's be a Sasquatch with a double thumbs up?
Could be.
That's hilarious. I agree, Howard. He was pretty OCD about things being in its place, but I have gone through and watched, like, one of the things like I want to try to do for the Razor Crest, like finding like linens and bedding in miniature scale that don't look like they're in miniature scale is kind of tough. But if you look on Mando's bed, like when he's putting Grogu there, like he doesn't make his bed, but things are kind of like, it's like half on, half off. Like he's super fastidious about things, but he's also, it's a home. And that's the thing that I think that they kind of are trying to convey with the Razor Crest is that it's lived in. So yes, things are like put in their proper place and everything is nice and like fastidious, but it's also lived in. So that's kind of the impression that I want to get with that build. So yeah, great point. And we'll talk more about that. I'll be asking questions in that video on what people think that I should be doing or could be doing, or anything extra that we can add to the cargo bay before it fully gets sealed up. Because what I'm going to do, just to bring this back real quick, I am not going to be gluing this piece in place until much later on. Like I'm not, there's a forward piece that sits right here. So it sits just like that. This one sits directly over the top. This one is 100% getting a hole drilled right in the middle of it. And we're going to be, lighting up the Ewok sitting inside of the carbonite booth, and so that's one of the areas that I'm going to be focusing on. And that one is going to get glued into place, but this main piece here is not going to get glued into place until towards the end of the build, because I want to be able to play with things. I want to be able to, like, if there's a better idea for lighting that I come up with, or some of you guys come up with, there's a lot of talent in the stream watching. And so if we all come up with an idea for something that could be working, because like when I stream for this, like a lot of the time I'm going to be like as an aside, as a step back a little, I've been able to get a lot of the work done on this model because I've been focusing on doing the work on stream. For whatever reason, like tedious fine detail work like this is easier for me to do when I'm talking and having a good time. So we're going to be seeing this quite a bit over time. So I want to kind of leave this open-ended in a little way, so that, if we have ideas for how this build could go or anything we can do different or add or 3D print to add to the mix, I want to be able to do so before I seal it up. Because once I get this piece put on and glued in place and get this top put on, the only access that I'm going to have is going to be back through the behind here. And so, like, here's with the top put on, without any lighting, it's going to be impossible really to see. So the only access that we're going to have is right through there, and then right through this just tiny little portion. So I want to be able to have time to really work with all the different parts and pieces on this over time. So we'll definitely be coming back, and I'll be asking a lot of opinions on ideas for how to approach this model. And that's one of the things that I really like about this one. I've been building it now for a little while. I'm really kind of attached to this one. I know you're not really supposed to well, that's not true. I'm not building this for any results. I was in the beginning. Now I'm just building it for the satisfaction of building it. But I'm really kind of attached to this model, and I really am enjoying getting back and doing this work. Some of the best work that I've done so far, I feel. So, yeah. Boy, I can really talk, can't I? All right.
It's great. I don't have to say anything.
Right. Okay, so let's see here. Where did I? Is this the wash? Yes, it is. Okay. Yep. I had to make sure I still had it handy. As a reminder, if you guys didn't see, one of the things I'm going to set this off to the side just briefly. One of the things that we did probably 2 or 3, I think it was probably 3 streams ago now, 3 weeks ago. One of the things we did was begin to add some of our turquoise highlights to the model after getting a flat clear put on top. And what I've done with this wash, and it's just a little bit of seafoam green, I believe is what it was. Seafoam green, the base color for this, the mid-gray, and a little bit of blue, I believe, is what we put in here to kind of enhance the color. Just get it towards the turquoise color, because if you look on the Bad Batch, The Marauder itself is like highlighted with not highlighted but weathered with turquoise and whitish colors, which is very interesting. And I wasn't sure about that as we were getting it onto the model, but seeing it on there, like obviously, like you can really, like you can pick out where I went. When I get the flat clear on top, it's really going to tone that down. But it really has done a good job of. Would you like that model if I were to rebuild it? 100%. My God, Howard, yes. This was, I think, this was the last model I built that didn't have lights. So I was building this. I started this model in November, and I finished it before joining Hobby Time Modelers. And so I wasn't confident in doing any lighting at that point. I didn't have equipment to do it. Hell, there are 6 different types of glue inside of this model. So are there things that I wish I could have done better? Yes. Specifically, I'm not picking apart my model, but just things that I know about it.
Why 6 different kinds of glue?
Because I didn't know what I was doing. Is it 6? It's the red tube, Tester's red tube. Tamiya ultra thin. Tamiya medium. Okay, 4 different types of glue. Yep. I was experiencing one of the episodes, the first episode that I released this year. I was doing a lot of play on words for my episode titles, and I named it New Year, New Glue instead of New Year, New You. Yeah, this model. It just, oh my God, the amount of glue, the amount of different mistakes that I made building this model. I learned so much. This is the first thing I ever airbrushed. I think this is probably about maybe 2 to 3 millimeters thicker than it used to be. That paint went on super thick, and the fact that it looks even decent now still kind of blows my mind. Oh, did I drop out a bit? Oh.
Yeah, I think when you chose number 2, which I think you meant super glue, it froze.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like I said, I think I need to get something like Kat and I have been talking about. I need to get a Wi-Fi booster. Also, kind of angle my mic towards me. I'm not using my lavalier mic today because when I plug this thing in, change the color. When I plug this thing into my USB hub, I think it sucked all the data capacity out of that. So by using the power on it, so as soon as I plug this in, my microphone stopped working. So I just got my wired mic, and it's a little far away from me. So let me know. Let me know if I keep cutting out. I can switch back over microphones. And thank you, Ken. It is looking. Once again, for this is my first scale model. When I got into making videos, I started with the Enterprise D. And then a month later, I got the Millennium Falcon. I was able to start getting like 2 videos out a week. And then I introduced the Venator, which was the 3D model, the 3D paper model. And then I introduced this. And this was the first model besides I started this before I built the NX-01. I finished the NX-01 the week of Christmas. I did it in 1 week. And the results actually still are pretty good. I'm surprised by that. But this is the first model that I actually finished and took time building. And for as many mistakes as I made, the mistakes aren't really present. To go back to some of the things that I wish I would have done, not use as many glues. This connection right here is kind of a crappy connection. I really struggled with getting this one. It's kind of hard to pick up. Let's see if this camera will do a better job picking that up. Getting this connection sitting over the top here, bigger gap than I wanted. What else? I didn't put clear coat down before I put my decals. I didn't know that you're supposed to do that. And I didn't weather it. And that was the thing. And I alluded to it at the very end of the series that we were going to come back and do this model again. Or not do it again, but keep working on it later on. And we're here. It was one of the main reasons for the Dockyards stream itself. So to be able to actually come in and continue to work on this and talk about it is pretty cool. And to look as good as it does, I'm still kind of surprised by it. I really do appreciate that. So, but Howard, to answer your question, yes. Would I like this if I had an opportunity to build it again? And the answer to that is yes. I would also go with a little bit different of a paint scheme. I think it should have been the lighter gray with the darker gray. I think I just kind of transposed some colors. I also did that with my GT350. I was trying to paint it the Eleanor colors, but I reversed the colors. I don't know. I like to say it's because I'm dyslexic, but I don't know. There's no reason for that. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and grab some of our dry brush color, and then I'm going to grab my small dry brush. And one of the things that I really need to work on is dry brushing. And so for that effect, I need to, and I'm asking a question, with my dry brush here, I loaded it up with paint. Do I now just basically go through here and just pull off as much of this onto the paper towel as possible and then just kind of run over the top of the model? Is that how that works?
So what are you trying to do?
What's that?
I said, what are you trying to do?
Dry brush.
Oh, yeah. You just put some paint on the brush, wipe it off on your towel a lot, and then drag it at almost the same angle as the part.
Oh, I see.
You want to drag it at 90-degree angles to the part, right? So you're just barely touching. You just want to catch the high details.
Got it. And what I'm trying to do specifically, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. What I'm trying to do is catch some of that right over the top here. So let me give that a try. Okay. Yeah, it's really subtle, but it's there.
Very lightly, yep. Because you just want the brush tips, the very ends of the brush, just to catch the part.
And that's where I went. I was having a difficult time with this when I was doing the console and the Falcon. I was having a real tough time with the dry brushing there.
All right, Howard says his next question is, do you actually have a tattoo of Star Wars or Star Trek, being such a guru?
No, I don't actually. I was in a heavy metal band right after high school. I have played guitar for, when did I start playing guitar? I sing and play guitar. And I've been doing so since I was like 13 years old. And so I was in a heavy metal band right out of high school. And I got this tattoo, which is the Metallica tattoo. It's just the M for Metallica done as the Ninja Star. Although I did take it, I didn't want to have the same one that everyone else had because there were a lot of people who were doing this at the time. So I mirror imaged the Ninja Star. I got this on my 18th birthday. So 18, my God, that was almost 20 odd years ago now. So 24 years ago. Yep. So got that one there. And then I got what was called the $50 wizard right there. I wish I could flip that around, but if you look at it mirror, it's a wizard. And then I have two more tattoos that they're not easy to show. I was in the tattoo mood and they're kind of addictive when you're getting them. But I haven't done it since. I think the last tattoo I got was on my 21st birthday, and by then I was already out of the heavy metal band. I was already working in restaurants, and haven't really thought about it. And tattoos are really expensive, and in a life full of really expensive habits. Oh my god, Huffing Fumes. Oh my god. Was the band name Huffing Fumes? Yes. In a lifetime of expensive habits, tattoos I chose not to pursue because they're very stupid expensive. So
Andrew says, "Don't tell me you're a drummer because you look and sound too much like a friend who's a drummer as it is."
No. I cannot get my feet and my hands to work in concert with each other. So no. When I was in the band, I played bass. But I primarily these days I actually haven't picked up a bass guitar in probably 15 years now at this point. These days I just primarily play guitar. I have a really nice Stratocaster, but even then, like, I'd like to say that I play guitar maybe every week, but that's just really not the case anymore. This modeling stuff, this hobby tends to take over, and that's how I've been with guitar for the entire time. I still sing though every day. I sing all the time. I love to sing. The name of our band was just the two of us, exactly. The name of our band was Steelscape, as cliche of a heavy metal band as a name as you can get, as Steelscape. They are still around, not under that name though anymore. I don't know if you guys can find any of their stuff online anymore as well, but we were all right. Played a few shows.
Eric would like to hear you scream heavy metal vocals.
Goodness. No. Currently Kat is in a class right now, and I'm sure that she would just be like, what the living F was that? I have an idea. So the next pizza themed video is I'm getting ready to make it. So Howard, you're going to get a new pizza themed video here soon. I will do a little singing in that for that. Although I'm not like really like what's the best way of putting it? I don't like heavy metal screaming so much. My inspirations for music was like probably the roughest I will get is I can really do a good James Hetfield from Metallica. Obviously, Metallica was my favorite band growing up. So, I can really do a good James Hetfield. So I will share a little bit of that on that video. Why no ska screams? Oh my god.
Is that even, I don't even know that's a thing. Howard also says, not easy to show your tattoos, kiss on his butt cheek and touch here on the other. Oh boy.
That's right. I have.
Andrew says his primary instrument is keys piano. Same here. I'm a piano guy.
Awesome.
I play drums when needed and play guitar as long as it's in the key of G. I cannot play the guitar at all. It hurts my fingers. I don't like it. I always play drums on Rock Band, if that counts. But I'm like you, like getting my hands and my feet to do two separate things. They're too far apart, man. It's like 10 feet of nerves.
Yeah, like I cannot coordinate. Like, now I played the bass, and so the bass, like to play bass, you have to like coordinate with the drummer. You don't play off the guitar player, you play off the drummer. And I got really good at that, but in the very beginning, I was playing the bass as if I was a guitar player. And I had to like think about how drums work, and I had tried, and it is just, oh my god, it's like a blind person. I bet you a blind person can play drums better than me.
Eric says, Ken, did you send Jordan the TIE Fighter platter you were painting? What is that?
It might have been so Ken did a really nice job on the modeling effect on his the wings for his TIE Fighter, and they look like giant platters. I think that's what he means. I think with this, I think I hand painted this portion, actually. Now that I think about it, which is kind of crazy to me. That's so funny. Huffing fumes. These days, yeah, that would be 100% my band name. Our band name started out as 4B, which was stood for oh my god, I can't believe I'm even saying these words. Jesus.
Was there a B name in there?
4B, so 4B, 4Bs. Big breasted beer bitches is what the name of the band was all about. And it was from we were golfing a lot back in those days, and they had these incredibly gifted...
Well, at least you didn't name it, give it the initials Beer Jordan.
Howard's asking, I'm wondering if you've seen that guy on YouTube that plays the quad pedal. One head drumming, looks like Todd. I think I know what you're talking about. There are some super crazy like solo musicians on YouTube. One of the guys that I really like to follow is Leo Moracoli. He's this Swedish guy, and he has a studio where he's a producer for a lot of Swedish death metal bands and stuff like that. But he's stupid talented, and once a week releases a heavy metal cover of a song you would never expect to be a heavy metal song. And he does it all by himself, records the guitar. I
agree with Ken. Don't forget to wipe that extra paint off if you're dry brushing.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Thank you. I'm just out here talking. Are you painting
or are you dry brushing?
I'm trying to catch a little bit of the edges here with just a little bit of the paint, maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, I follow a bunch of those guys that do solo work. They do a lot of production by themselves, and I really do appreciate the skill, and I really appreciate the fact that the music industry these days is not necessarily predicated by the studios themselves or the production companies. A lot of independent artists are able to get a lot of exposure because of YouTube and other platforms where they're able to do it on their own. But you're not also seeing as much of the bands taking off. You sing a lot more one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
One of my buddies, if you guys have ever heard of the band Silent Theory, they're kind of like a modern new metal band, I guess you would call them. My friend Bob is the guitarist. We went to school together, and they were signed on a label for... they were signed on the label for, I think, the first 2 albums, and they collectively as a band made something like $100,000, but there's 5 people in the band, and after production costs and everything like that, for the first 3 albums, they only netted something like $2,000 a piece. And so they went out on their own, and they're touring on their own, making money on their own, and he just bought a house off of his last tour, and I'm just super stoked for him, because they're personally, they're not that great of a band, but they're doing it for themselves, and it's because of YouTube and the platforms that are available out there, so you don't have these big record labels taking all of the band's money anymore, and I think that's really, really cool. I'd love to learn guitar if I could, is what Howard says. If you're interested and you have access to a guitar, it's not hard to get a guitar. I always recommend checking out a pawn shop for that. There is a guy on YouTube, and his name is Marty Music, and he's, I think, got like 1 million subscribers or whatever. He does simple tutorials on how to learn guitar. And if you were interested in learning, there's a book called The Guitar Grimoire. And that's a really weird word. But basically, that book teaches you about positioning, finger positioning on the guitar, and how it relates to like the piano and keys and all of that. So it really, those two things, between Marty Music and the Guitar Grimoire, I'm able to keep learning how to play over time, which is really nice. It's another Silent Fury. Is that another name for Ian's ass? Yes, correct.
Wow.
What's that?
I said, wow.
Yep.
Ken says, yes, Jordan, we need to do a painting lesson. Yeah, we should arrange that. We should figure out a time that we can do that.
Absolutely. Down for it for sure. So
And
you
Dash
bought one on
a year
Amazon.
ago.
There you go. So check out Marty Music. He is a great teacher, and it's just going to be like pop culture songs that you know, but it'll teach you how to play. And I recommend don't like, and the fact that Howard, you're even talking about learning how to play guitar is kind of insane to me because of all the models that you build. What I recommend is learn at the pace that makes sense to you. If you start getting frustrated, walk away for a little bit and then come back to it. That really helps with the guitar play. It really helps me. Even somebody who's been playing for coming up on 30 years, I still have to walk away and get a little bit of time away. I always feel better when I come back. So,
well, not only that, but doesn't it help build the calluses on your fingers so you can play better? You gotta give it some time.
You got to give it some time, especially in the beginning. So get that book, Ken, or not Ken, Howard. I will message you in Discord. Remind me later if I haven't. I will send you the link for that book. And it's going to be a good starting spot for you to learn your hand positioning. I've seen your hands. You have hands like me. So playing guitar can be really daunting for us sausage finger guys. So really focus on finger positioning and getting your basic chords down. And then just watch videos on how to play certain songs. And the beautiful thing about YouTube is you can keep watching them over and over and over again. You can pause and restart, pause and restart, pause and restart. And if no one's watching you and no one cares, then no one knows. And so, but yeah, what Todd was just saying is also very, very important. Give your hands a chance to recover after the first little bit, because like I've got really thick calluses right up here, my fingertips. Like I can't even really feel anything here. These three fingers specifically, and the side of my pinky right here has got a huge callus. That's where I happen to hit the I play guitar very strange. But yeah, you need time to build up those calluses. And don't get frustrated with it. Like you're not Yngwie Malmsteen or a natural guitar talent, and so you need to take time to build up the skills, and so don't get frustrated with it. Playing an instrument's a lot of fun, though. I think it's a great release for creativity.
Donnie's here. Say hi, Donnie.
Hey, Donnie. Donnie must be home from work and fed, all Mountain Dewed up, so to say.
That's right. Eric says, Ken, I'd love to see your get a beginning airbrush for idiots class. I agree. I mean, I think we should put some little tutorials out, some HTM tutorials from different people.
Yep.
Maybe I'll get a little intro or something put together. Andrew would like to say, how would you rate your bass playing on a scale of 1 to Victor Wooten?
That would be a 1. Yeah. Okay. So I played bass in the band because the 2 guitar players that were in the band were amazing. Like they were really, really good. And we couldn't find a bass player. And so I was able at the time to just purchase a Fender P bass. And I basically learned Iron Maiden is like my second favorite band besides Metallica. And the guitarist for Iron Maiden, Steve Harris, is arguably one of the best bass players of all time. And so I learned a bunch of Iron Maiden songs and just kind of learned how to do the basics, applied my skills with the guitar, and then went from there. But I was never that great. We had to restart one show because the first 2 songs I was way too loud, and I couldn't figure out that I was way too loud, and I pissed off both the guitar players. And so, yeah, basically what happened was I like we were together as a band for like 4 years, and we were playing like bars and stuff like that, which is perfect at that point. But we were not like really getting any forward progress. Like people weren't coming out to see us or whatever. And I got a job, like I kind of needed to pay my bills. And so I had to walk away from the band, and they wound up continuing on. They're still doing their thing, but they still really haven't gotten past that initial point. So
All right, let's see. I just do model the puzzles, farming, reading books, woodworking. Don says hi. Don said he would love the airbrushing. Donnie says all I need to play guitar is calluses. I got that in spades from work.
Yep.
Howard says, we'll get on it, Todd. Maybe we do a suggestion channel for videos we want to see made or pull in the suggestions. Yep.
That's a great idea.
Like that. I don't want to get too carried away with, because sometimes channels. we end up with a lot of channels, and then it gets confusing on where to put things. And
yeah. But that is a fantastic idea. Once again, like the more help that we can give to the community, like just the class that I took from Ken with basic weathering made huge difference for me. And the thing with Ken, if you guys aren't watching his videos, you need to. The thing with Ken is he's an amazing teacher.
I did an airbrushing class, like tutorial on HTM somewhere.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I was going to do this. I called it In the Lab series. In the lab with Marvel Phoenix.
Yeah.
And it's got to be buried on HTM's channel somewhere.
Oh, it is. They don't, unless they take it down, it's still there.
Let me see. Videos, unboxing, Friday Night Builds, podcast. No. Is it on my channel? Let's see. No, it's got to be on HTM somewhere. Because I know I did something like that, but that was early on after I got beginner airbrushing with Marvel Phoenix, a whole 18 views. It was streamed 2 years ago, and it was only 2 minutes and 11 seconds long. That's why it's so terrible. But we need something like that. Literally from I've never touched an airbrush before in my life. How do I get started? I think there's a lot of people who would just love to get over that hump of, because the whole reason I made that video was because it was so daunting to even consider airbrushing, because most of the times I saw people doing it. I'm like, man, look at the work they're doing, Right. But they've been doing it for a long time, and you're so intimidated that I think something just coming literally from, I've never touched one before, from unpacking it, these are different parts. These are the different kinds. Maybe you show the difference in a gun and a single action and a dual action and side feed and top feed and bottle fed and so on.
Right. How to thin, like compressors, like those
Well,
things were
yeah.
like.
Well, and like I was telling Dave when I was trying to show him how to do better photography for his tanks, and I said, photography is the triangle, right? So you have shutter speed, aperture, and ISO sensitivity.
Right.
And anytime you change one of those things, you have to alter the other things to have the same end result exposure, right?
Right.
If you use a quicker shutter, that lowers the amount of light, so you got to either open the aperture or increase the ISO, things like that. Well, I feel like airbrushing is kind of the same thing, right? Because you have pressure, you have paint viscosity, and you have nozzle size, right?
Yep.
And anytime you change one of those things, it's going to affect the other two on if you want the same result, but you want to put a bigger nozzle on it, or if you want to use a different kind of paint in the same gun that's set up the same way, it has to have a certain viscosity. Well, obviously paints get thin in different ways. And, I think knowing those things, which I know now, but knowing those things in the beginning would have been great. That kind of stuff.
Oh God, yes.
Mm-hmm. And see, even Eric says that from how to turn it on and set it up. Yep.
Yep.
And then simple things, because there's a lot of stuff with airbrushing that comes from doing it, right? You can feel the airbrush doing what it's doing, and that's very hard to get across in a video or in a book or anything, because you feel it. You can hear it as well, right? You can hear when it's spattering. You can hear when it's over blasting the paint, right? Yep. You can tell when you're going to get dry tip because of how quickly paint dries. Things like that. It's just, there's things you get from feel, but you can get a lot of it across in the beginning. Donnie says he would like to learn the modeling technique. Yeah, I agree.
Same.
Andrew says we have a lot of people now willing and ready to share knowledge in the model building community, which is great. Yes.
Oh my God,
Eric says, I saw that video you speak of. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it. It's embarrassing. Dash says, Todd, you could add the channel and just put up the channel that only the administrator can add the list item for people who mention them. Yeah, but that could be something we pin in another channel. We'll worry about that. Maybe that'll be in. We'll think about that. Ken says I can try to do some shorter 10-minute videos and make a series. That's perfect. I think the little short consumable, people have no attention span these days. Those are perfect for little 10-minute things. You can watch them on a lunch break or at a toilet, whatever.
Right.
And then start the next one. And maybe the first one is just unboxing, and these are the different parts of the airbrush and how you hook it up to the compressor. And do you need an air dryer on your compressor? Do you need a tank on your compressor? Things like that.
Right.
Eric says, which paints to buy and learn that aren't easy and semi-forgiving? There are paints that are much easier to airbrush. There are some paints you can shoot right out of the bottle. To me, it's fantastic to airbrush. It does need to be thinned a little bit, but it's a very forgiving paint to airbrush with.
It is.
Donnie says, that would be awesome, Ken. And then Dash says, that's just about a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, it's just... But there's a balance. There's an art to it, and that's where I think when it comes to airbrushing, it's not just put paint in it and go. What pressure do you put it at? You don't shoot all paints at the same pressure. You don't. Yeah, you can, but you got to shoot them differently. I could shoot any paint at 30 psi, but then I have to use less trigger. I have to be closer to the part or farther away from the part.
Right.
And I agree. This is what I was talking about. Like, how do you, if you find your paint is splattering or it's spitting or it's spraying out half the nozzle, things like that. Yep.
The troubleshooting portion of it, like what I experienced a lot in the very beginning was, am I just doing this wrong, or is this the result of, right? And and I just did that here. Didn't take enough of that paint off of the dry brush, and so now
no, you did not. Wow.
All right.
So a big area like that, do you have like a fan brush, dry brush?
I do. Yeah.
Like a big wide one? That's what I would do for those big areas. Don't use that small one. It's too hard to get an even coat across it.
Oh, you know what? I don't have the fan brush. I need to get one.
Or at least like a big wide brush for the flat edge.
The widest that I have is that.
Oh yeah, no, you get bigger than that. You're gonna have to get some bigger brushes.
Well, looks like
Eric's, you don't have to necessarily repaint that. Just dry brush it back with the original color. Yep. Ken says a 10-minute video with Jordan's style of segmentation. Yeah, just add chapters. Yep. if need be. But you can plan it out. You just get a piece of paper and start going, what would I want to do in episode 1 through, however many episodes it takes to empty your brain of airbrushing.
Right. Exactly.
And you start with the very, very basics. Literally, I've never touched an airbrush, all the way up to I've been doing it for 10 years and I want to learn modeling. Right? Mottling. Got to put an emphasis on that T.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, was this flat black?
Oh God, I don't remember.
Probably could. I wasn't even like. I went back and looked at my notes. I wasn't keeping notes about what colors I was using back in the day.
Well, why not give it another color? Why do you got to use black? Why not use NATO black or rubber black and dry brush it with that and bring that tone in? Who says that wasn't a laser hit at some point on that ship?
Good
Darken
point.
the center of it and look like a damaged blast hole.
Very good point. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use everyone's favorite NATO black.
I also are making some solo videos tomorrow. I have some templates for those where it goes with your logo and then a picture of what's going on. Yeah. I should be able to put something together. Donnie should do a class on photo etch. Donnie could do a class on a lot of things.
You could do a class on a lot of things like micro soldering.
Yeah. And then something for HTM in my channel. Yeah, that's what I did. The intro and the thumbnail has both the HTM logo and your icon or whatever your name is. But I probably make a new one. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
Donnie says I could do that, but Dave is the real photo etch master. That's true. I mean, he also does that, but Dave would be great for doing like the minis and also with Donnie. But I mean, like painting his figures or doing all of that detail work he does on the tanks, right? Texturing and
yep. What Dave is really good at, I'm finding, is that he understands color theory so well.
That's a whole nother class.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother thing you could do.
Yeah, like color theory is so important for what we do here, and we don't realize a lot of what we're doing, like with, like, say for instance with Ken and the modeling, right? When you're modeling, you're adding a base color behind it to give you highs and lows back behind the base, and it's super fascinating what that does. I've been playing around on a styrene sheet, and I wish I knew where it was right now. But I've been playing around with a little bit of that, and what it does to color is amazing. And then, like, watching Dave and what he's able to do with the like creating those realistic effects with like leather or metal and stuff like that. Just the understanding of like how paint works is so interesting to me.
Well, and like how he adds the glue textures to make it look like rough steel, and how he makes mud splatters, and how he does, he builds stuff up to look a certain way. It's the what do they call it when you shade the panels? He does something, I don't remember he has a name for it, but where they shade the different panels different colors, and then just as like right over the base, and then you cover that whole thing with a tint color, and it just adds enough hue difference that it doesn't look, and I remember him when he was painting all those like the interiors, like all the little radio racks and the shells and things. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's catch up here. Eric says Miss Dave might murder him if he has another time sink. Oh, I don't think Dave would do it, but
no, he wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. Donnie
we
says,
enjoy the time with Dave that we get.
Dave could do some on how to paint large scale figures. Yes. And of course, every one of these we would brand with both channels, right? So if, let's say, Donnie, if you do one, it would be branded HTM and Don's modeling desk. That way it could be uploaded to both channels.
Yeah.
So you have it on, it's in both places. Howard says, I'd say don't start out with buy these things. No, no. The recommendations for like what airbrush to buy, there's so many to choose from. You could start with just a basic Iwata Neo for $20 from Hobby Bench, and just go with that, or Hobby Lobby.
I went 10 months with this Avanti from Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, and Harbor Freight has a pistol version now too. I gave it to Francisco.
Very nice. Yeah,
TJ says I could do a class on micro soldering. I'm hopeless at it. Hopeless at soldering in general, to be honest. He could do with a class. Well, Donnie can do that.
Yep,
Donnie says soldering is fun once you get the hang of it. It is.
it is. Yep.
Learn all about
That's right.
rosin and flux and different types of solder and temperatures. Gary says Dave is a phenomenal painter. We all agree with that.
Yeah.
Candace says you're talking about filters. Yep.
Filters. There we go.
That sounds
Yep.
right. Donnie says I'll try to work on something this weekend. Maybe we use the show's events channel, since it's pretty quiet right now without Wonderfest. Maybe you guys can post in there videos that you know, topics that you'd like to do a little video on. Let's try to keep it to 10 minutes. You can do multiples, but let's try to keep them under 10 minutes each.
Sounds
Ken
great.
says I did filters on my Abrams. Yeah. Howard says I talked to Dave 2 days, I assume ago, while he was doing Eva, and seeing him talk about the inks and adding and bushes and his this is really hard to read, and his resin printing and how he's doing other things. It was fun to learn from Dave. Yeah. Donnie says that Black Widow brush is awesome for the price. It really is. It's a very good brush. I bought both. I bought the pencil and the hand grip, but since I already had the Grex, I gave the hand grip version to Francisco. I still have the pencil one.
I've contemplated getting one, but I really want to enjoy this the Iwata that you
It's
gave
not
me
as good
for a
as the
while.
Iwata.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the Iwata is very nice.
Iwata makes
Eric says
like
a mentors channel. Well, think about that, of what you would like to see in the mentors channel. Make sure we don't have something like that already, because we have so many.
I think that, like, as nice as that would be, but I think we should go back to what you just said. We want to try to avoid like over cluttering and keep it more in line with like.
Now, what I could see is maybe we create a whole new group of channels. Because we have a channel for like builds, but what if we had one for like techniques, right? And you had one for painting, one for photo etch, one for minifigs, one for airbrushing, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you could have those individual channels, or if somebody had a question about airbrushing, they could answer in that specific channel, and those would all be grouped together in a one specific group in Discord.
And if somebody is doing something in their own, like any one of the members of HTM, if somebody's doing something and they want to share what they're doing in there, that's a perfect venue for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we could have, you know, a peer learning. What do they call it? Oh God, peer something. They talk about it at work all the time, and I can't remember it now. It just totally escaped me.
It's work related, so it's not surprising.
It's after work now, and it's my weekend has begun since I have Fridays off. So now I'm just sitting here. It's, I don't know, it's peer something, peer sharing or something like that, where the one person knows and he's sharing it with everybody else. Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we have a channel like that, and then when those videos come out, we can post them in there as well too.
Love it. Well, that's the thing for me. Like, I mean, I'm just now a year into modeling again, and this group and community has taught me so much, and it's nice to be able to have that forum. You know, as Andrew said, you know, there's a lot of people willing to share nowadays. That wasn't always the case. You know, like a lot of this modeling stuff, because, you know, it's just a bunch of us older guys doing it, you know, it was kind of, the skills were kind of there, but never out for everyone to see. And
well, this is why I wanted to, this is why I wanted to do something different with it, because there's a lot of just, you know, airbrushing 101 classes on YouTube. Right. There's a lot of people that just do the same kind of thing. But I remember we were talking about having it where you have the teacher and the student on there at the same time.
Yes.
Where you're literally like, maybe Ken and we get Eric on the YouTube on a channel and just record it. You don't have to have your face on there. It's just a camera down, and you're literally showing the other person how to do it.
Yep.
You know, they bought a basic airbrush and they have some paint and they just want to see what they can do, right?
Exactly.
And you're teaching somebody, because then that person has a tendency to ask the questions you don't think of. So
bingo. Exactly. In the demonstration, watching somebody actually learn also helps other people learn. Like, because of the question asking phase. That is fantastic. Love it.
Peer programming. That's what they call it, but we aren't programming.
Ken's saying HTM learning series.
Yeah, I maybe something like that. Maybe we'll find something catchy that sounds really good. But yeah, if we could pair people up and say this is the learner and this is the teacher, and we can record those in the StreamYards, right? StreamYards isn't just for live streams. You can also record in there.
Right.
And so people could join a room, they could join a studio the same way. You just record it, then you could download it, edit it, and upload it to the channels. So
love it. Gary's saying we can get on the modeling channel live for a class. Yeah. Yeah.
I can create another voice channel, but I think it's easier probably to do that in StreamYards because StreamYards lets you record, and you can't record in Discord. Like you basically share this. You can just create a studio because you can create studios anytime you want. You create a studio for that particular class. You share the link with the trainer and the student.
Yep.
And just record the whole thing.
All you got to do is hit record.
Yep. You just click record. That's it. And when you're done, you click stop. And then, somebody can download, like me, I can download it and edit it with intros and outros and then upload it to the channel and send a copy of it over to the, whoever the teacher is. They can put it on their channel too, or the student if they want.
That's right.
Yeah. And Ken says, plus the person learning can ask questions the instructor may not have thought about. That's exactly what I was thinking. That's why having... instead of a teacher, because it's sometimes I'll teach, but there's the tiniest little tips and tricks that I just take for granted that I just do now naturally and don't think about. And when you're teaching somebody, sometimes you forget those things,
exactly.
Like cleaning your airbrush and things like just simple steps of ways to clean it and how should it be stored? And things like I always let the pressure out, right? So I turn the compressor off and pull the trigger, let the pressure out of the air hoses.
Yep.
Just to protect the seals and stuff. And I'm like, these are all things you just take for granted. But maybe somebody doesn't know that you need to do that. Or if you live in a humid environment, you got to drain the water catching tank every once in a
while. When Ian shipped me his compressor, he forgot to empty his tank.
Oh no!
Before sending it, and there was a bunch of rusty water in the bottom of the packaging. It was lovely.
Gross.
But it's Ian, so totally tracks.
Yeah. Well, it's like I have this huge compressor of like a 2-horse or 3-horse or 5-horse compressor out in my garage, right? Like a full automotive compressor. It's like a 100-gallon tank or something. It's huge.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, because I used to work on cars all the time. And I had air tools. Like I'm not taking a wheel off without an air ratchet if I have a choice. And but it's been out there for so long, and I know that it had water in the bottom of it because I one time there's a drain plug on the bottom, and I went to pull the drain plug, and a bunch of this rusty ass water came out. But I haven't touched that air compressor in 10 years, and I'd be afraid to turn it on now because I'm sure the whole interior's all rusted out.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I just saw Howard's last comment. You sure it was rust?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it was rust colored. Andrew says all stuff I had to figure out myself would have been nice to have a course to follow. Yeah. I mean, if we spend some time on it and really put almost a curriculum together and make it something that's, semi-professional looking, I think it would do well. I think it'd be helpful even to people that just watch HGM.
Also, as well, like you can even go a little bit further and like to expand upon what Andrew just said, like being not all of us are content creators, right? And so the content creation side of it too is a whole other side of things that I am still figuring out, right? Like the equipment used, like how to use OBS properly, how to get OBS to communicate with, StreamYards and all the different platforms, how to record, lighting, data storage, like different proper like storage devices using high speed, high quality devices for storage, like all the things that like go into content creation as well could also be covered there as well, because guys like Keith, for instance, and Ken, who are coming in from watching and now into streaming and creating videos, like those sort of pieces of information as well could be really handy for someone who, you know, like for some of us who create videos, like how to edit and how to, you know, work with YouTube and work with all of those different programs. Because that can be a lot of that can be really daunting. Like there could be members in our group that are just amazing modelers, but you know, and want to create videos but don't know how. And so that's one of the things that I've been thinking about as well, is like what you guys have done for, you know, what Hobby Time Modelers has done for me is give me all of the tools. Like these are the sort of things that, you know, I should be using to build models properly. And there's not a big resource for like what camera should be using. Should be using a CX405, should be using a ZV-1. Can you get away with using webcams? Like what sort of things, you know, what tools are out there for content creators to be able to get their message and their word out as well. And so I think we can also expand later on into, you know, helping those that want to content create to also create content. And I think that'd be a really cool extension of that.
Yep. Donnie would like me to blow up my compressor.
See that? Donnie, Eric says, Donnie, that would make must-watch TV.
Right?
Oh, interesting.
But did an adapter attach a tire for air pressure?
Weird.
Interesting. Wow.
Weird. I can so see that.
That's why you put a water trap on those. I do have a water trap on it. You could use a 100-gallon compressor if you wanted. That's why I was surprised there was water coming out in the bottom of it.
Especially in Phoenix too.
Yeah, that's one of those things. If I moved and built a lab, it would have a hard mounted compressor, right? With pressure reduction valves to do airbrushing on it, so I wouldn't have to use the side one.
It was interesting when we did that airbrush class. They were using what was it, CO2?
Oh yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I wonder.
That's probably why we were all falling asleep in there.
Did you see? You had to have seen the what was it? The room that they were doing the Wolfman maquettes on. Did you see how cloudy that room was?
Yeah, you couldn't see to the back of that room. They were spraying so much paint. That's how it was last year, and they got so mad because there was paint everywhere, and that paint gets on the walls and everything. So.
Oh my god. I think you and I both spilt paint that got on that carpet, by the way.
Yep. Yep. PJ says regular maintenance of airbrush, breaking it down, giving every component a thorough clean is super important. Yes, even to the point of I bought a ultrasonic cleaner for mine.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. Is that something that's a worthwhile investment? They're not too expensive, I'm seeing.
You have to use your airbrush a lot.
Okay.
But if you find that after you clean it, after you take it apart, do the needle cleaning and the nozzle cleaning, and it's still like gummy and stuff, pretty much the only way you're going to do that is by soaking it, which means you got to take it apart. And in a lot of cases, you have to remove the gaskets, the seals, before you do an ultrasonic. It depends on the cleaner. But yeah, I mean, it does help.
Okay. Something to think about.
Ken would say, take the tire to a service station and fill it for free. There you go.
There is our local service station. Our local service station still has free air. It is amazing. I love it.
Oh, so our QTs do. Yeah. Donnie says, hey, Todd, you can start the hold my beer and watch this. Don says, look like London. I don't know what that means.
Neither do I.
Donnie says he could title the video blown up shit with Bigfoot. Yep. Mm-hmm. Ken says he likes his ultrasonic. Yep, it serves a lot of purposes. You know, you got girlfriend, clean her jewelry in it. Yep. Oh, Howard says I just build 10 models and get on my auto spray painter and do them all in one go. You could, but that is a much thicker pigment. Auto paint.
It is. Yeah, God. All All right, I think I'm ready to clear this. Should
You
I
want to give
do?
some close-ups?
Let's go ahead and a little zoomy zoom here.
Nice.
It's rusty, or not rusty, but rubbed. I just started rubbing. Rubbed around the edges. I did take the turquoise pigment, go around, and then I went ahead with that, the NATO black, and just kind of gave a little bit of texture. Now, I'm not exactly pleased with how the wings have turned out since I've added that. What should I do for that?
Well, what part didn't you like? You can always add paint.
Always add paint. It's very true.
What part don't you like?
I don't like how this has turned out. The black portions on the wings.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you need to go darker again?
I think so.
Does it look
But-
too like worn gray?
I almost though want to throw on the clear and see what happens
Mm-hmm.
to it.
You could paint on top of a clear. So
Exactly. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna finish up the rest of the look. Once again, it's just bring up the turquoise highlights around the edges. I try to just cover every one of the little raised portions of the hull with that turquoise, and then a little bit of the silver brushing, and then going back over the top with that with a little bit of the dry brush. So I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out, except for the wings, but I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. So for my clear, should I use a flat or a gloss?
I would. Well, you don't have any decals, do you?
No, the decals are already on.
And do you think you're going to paint over it?
Over the wings again, probably yes. So probably go flat.
Yeah, just go flat. And the like London. It looked like London. So Don was talking about the room where they were painting the wool
Oh.
yes, because it looked like smog. Yes, okay, I get it.
Yep, and that's actually where I met Don. So Don, I think we had briefly interacted, but Don and I had actually chatted there for more than a few minutes. We were talking about the smell, and I think the instructor had walked out saying something about blowing multicolored snot out.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Howard says, "Is that black HTM's favorite black rubber?"
That was for me. It's the NATO, or was that NATO? Yeah, it was NATO black.
Yeah. I agree with Donnie. Maybe give those panels a really light airbrush with again filtering or tinting the whole wings back darker with like a dark metallic. Okay. I don't even know if I would go with the metallic, because you get the flake everywhere, including the grays. But you could tint those whole things with a black.
With a black, just like a straight black.
Mm-hmm. Or again a dark black, because obviously you want to darken down those things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for my dark options, because
I think the weird issue that you're getting is the illusion your eyes are making, right? So when you dry brush those, it makes it very hard to get into the edges. And so what happens is you end up lightening the center of the panels, and it makes them look worn. And so what you may want to do is actually darken the center of the panels out, and then a little, dark. So basically you're filtering with real light overspray almost with a black.
Okay.
Ken says, he kept his TIE Fighter panels clean and used a semi-gloss black. Oh, he says not airbrush, dry brush with metallic.
Oh, dry brush.
Yeah, you could, but something darker, because you don't have to use always lighter color to dry brush. You can dry brush a dark color too.
Darker, it's very true.
And I think that's what you ran into is because it's hard to get into the cracks, as you end up with that lighter gray in the center of the panel.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm running into.
And it makes it look like worn jeans.
That's exactly it. Well said. Okay. So for dry brush, I can either use my weathering dry brushes or should I just dry brush paint?
A serious dry brush.
A serious dry brush.
I don't know. I mean, I think they're both valid. Me personally, if I wanted to tint them, I would airbrush it because I know because I can control once where the airbrush goes, where I want it to be darker, and I can get down in the cracks, right, in the edges of the panels and things like that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But they are saying use regular paint and a dry brush.
Paint and dry brush. Well,
there's no such thing as screwing it up. You could paint primer over all of that, do it again. So
exactly. Okay, so let's try. Let's go with the darker. Part of me wants to use the dark iron, but it's got the flake in it.
It does. It is very, very flaky, very metallic.
Go flat black or gloss black.
I would use flat.
Yeah.
PJ says for the wings, you could create irregular panel shapes painted with various tints of dark grays and blacks. That's what he did on his Marauder. Remember, like I did on the NPC Falcon with just the end of a post-it note. If you wanted to give it that multi-paneled feel, if you don't want the panels to be uniform.
I do want the panels to be uniform.
Yeah.
No, that's a great idea, though.
Eric says, if my brush looks serious, I'd be afraid. Yeah.
A serious dry brush. All right, let's give this a try. Get her flat. Load it up. Get it out. And you're saying focusing in the middle?
Yeah, because I think that's where when you tried to highlight it, I think you just over lightened the center of the panels, and it makes the panels look sunken or convex or concave, either raised or sunken. You're frozen. He froze. Oh, he's choppy, and he's back. Yeah. Okay. So because it gives it a 3-dimensional look when you give a highlight and it's just in the center because it makes it look like the panel's not flat anymore.
Right.
So just tone it down with a dark color again. Ken says, load the brush up with your paint, then rub it all off on a towel until you think you have no paint left on the brush.
Okay.
I feel like there's more coming to this. Oh, don't smash your poor brush.
It's true. This brush is actually the one that I smashed. I destroyed this on the slave one.
Then dry brush. There you go. Yeah, that's the true dry brushing.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel like there's hardly anything left. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Just grabbing a little bit, whatever's in there. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know what else to say there other than
interesting.
It feels like I'm doing nothing, but then I'm getting results. Like it feels like I'm literally just rubbing this dry brush across the top of it, and that's exactly what it's called.
You are. That's what dry brushing is.
Yeah.
That's why they call it a dry brush, because it should be pulling all the colors just on the very highlighted parts, you know. Eric says, Attack of the Serious Dry Brush coming direct to DVD. Direct to digital. Ken says, it should be subtle. You want to sneak up on the level you want. I agree. And Donnie agrees. He says dry brushing is best done in very light layers.
And that's what I'm finding too with weathering is it's good to be done in many, 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 many layers. Don't rush the process. How interesting. It's picking it up right along the top of the ridges and leaving the lower color down below.
That's exactly what you want.
I am really liking that.
That way you're getting that multicolor look, but you're toning that whole panel down, right? Because you're just doing the raised details.
Bit of a lesson here tonight. How interesting. This is super cool. And that's the beauty of Star Wars models versus Star Trek models, is you can actually do weathering.
Mm-hmm.
I've contemplated doing a little bit on the runabout, but
well, now I'm clicking on showing comments and it's not working. I can start things. Oh my god, there it goes. Howard says that's my problem. He tries rushing. Ken says brush lightly. Donnie says if you want a more noticeable effect, then just do another light layer on top. Yeah.
okay.
Ken says don't force it in. Just tickle the surface. Donnie says yes, Ken, exactly. Very light pressure on the brush.
Oh, that's even better, yeah. Huh. Nice. I don't know if it's coming through necessarily. Like, you can kind of pick up a little bit of those highlights there on the top panel. But in person, there's a lot of depth there now. And that's the effect that I was hoping for there. I just didn't like the fact that it was so flat. Like, it was just a flat black without really any definition to it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, this effect is great. Make her giggle. Cry havoc. And let's slip the dogs of war. Ken says, well, the ship is a she.
Yeah, so make her giggle. Just tickle her.
Just a little tickle. Little tickle.
Oh, God. Donnie.
Oh, my God. It has devolved, my friends. It has devolved. It's amazing. Oh, man, that's great. It's exactly the look I was looking for.
Oh, don't you act innocent, Donnie.
Eric?
Yeah, so what? So maybe he is.
Yeah?
He's giving it the Canadian tickler, okay?
Hey, hoosery.
Yeah. She likes it a lot.
Oh, Lord, eh? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ken and Donnie are chanting their inner Ian. Yes. Ken says a brush with longer bristles might work better on that surface. The way he's using it, I think the short might work better. Just because he's getting that top detail, I'm afraid the longer bristles might jump down into the details. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got two different. I got this one, which is a slightly bigger, and then I have this one, which I have yet to touch yet. It is still nice and soft. I like to touch it by itself. Oh. Okay, and I made it weird. You can't.
As usual.
As usual. That's what I do best. You can dry brush.
Quick, you need to drop something.
It's very true. I don't want to right now, though. God, when I recorded that last episode of the Enterprise, I was having the worst trouble with keeping everything together. Like, I put those screws into the parts without them falling out 10 times.
Oh god, I stopped right before after watching your video. I was working on the Falcon on Sunday, I think it was, and I stopped right before we got to the loading ramp. I'm like, oh no, I need to stop here. All right. Okay, we said that. Donnie says, "Wait, how is what I said worse than a French tickler?" Oh, it was. Eric says, "Always wondered what Canadian porn sounded like." Thanks, Jordan.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right
Do
there.
it like that.
Yeah, right there. Right there. Then he says, "If you're not going to use long bristles, use long light strokes." Oh, there you go.
Long light strokes.
Dave uses brushes with beaver hair. Well, that's Dave's channel, okay? I don't want to know what he's doing with his beaver.
Oh my god. Poor Chris.
Where does he get those beaver hairs from?
I know. Oh god.
Every time he says he's mowing the lawn, he's lying. That's what Buck's really doing.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Peter just said, well, this stream just took a weird turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh my god. Good times. Explains angry Mrs. Dave. That's great. He does paint all those beaver statues. Oh my god.
Ken is trying to be serious.
He is, yes. But boys will be boys.
Yeah, well, Ken may be serious, but we're falling apart over here, so.
Falling apart 100%.
This is the Dockyards, after all. Don't change that letter for a C.
Oh my god. Donnie says you failed, Ken. Oh man. So glad I'm not monetized. I did not pull that down enough. That's fine. Just leave that little highlight up there. And a little happy accident.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Ken, just let you know I watched Deadpool last night. Fantastic. Thank you for the link. I haven't pirated it. Oh, shut up, Jordan. I haven't watched any movies online recently. Yeah, those are the words.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. It had Spanish subtitles. It's great. The loud parts were really loud.
Oh, God, yes.
They didn't put their finger over the microphone. So
yeah, it's interesting is when we sat down to watch it in the theater, we could hear the finale of the theater next door through the walls.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it was booming like crazy. We're like, well, we know it's coming. Don says, twisted minds unite.
Yep.
Ken says, good to hear. And Dash said, it's much better in the theater. Yep.
Yeah.
It was good. It was very good. Very loud.
I'm going to have to, after seeing it, like, I just haven't been to a theater in a while. Like, one of the things we were talking about when you were here was possibly going and seeing that. I just haven't been to a theater in a while, and I don't know why I've had reticence to want to go.
Because you have to be around people and listen to them eat popcorn with their mouth open?
Could be. That, and I don't know, like, I used to go to like 40 or 50 baseball games a year as well, and I've not done that since COVID. I think I'm a little nervous about being around big groups of people. The most that I've been around big groups of people, like obviously I manage a restaurant, so I'm around people all the time, but big groups of people or whatever in closed spaces, I think I'm just a little nervous about. So yeah, I don't know.
I used to do the same. I had a girlfriend that had tickets to all the sporting events because she worked for a big real estate company, so they had suite tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
So every football game, hockey game, basketball game, baseball game, she had tickets, and she would give them out to her vendors and stuff. And then when they didn't have, she would have, sometimes she'll have extras, and we would go all the time. The last thing I want to do right now is go to like a football game.
Yeah, like tens of thousands of people.
No, God, this sounds
God.
awful.
Yep. Yeah, I used to be a season ticket holder for the Mariners, and so obviously I'm used to disappointment. And but yeah, just I haven't been to a game. I haven't been to a concert. I haven't been to, and I'm not like COVID, like I'm terrified of COVID or whatever. Like I've had it, like it's no big deal. But it was just one of those things where I really don't want to go, to the theaters and all of that. And so it was.
Donnie's leaving. Say bye, Donnie.
Bye, Donnie. Appreciate you as always stopping by and for the little tidbits of knowledge that you dropped on us. But yeah, I've just it's not like I'm afraid or whatever, but for this movie, I was going to make the exception. And Ken handed over the link last night, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch this 100%. So after Kat and I got back from our walk, ate some dinner and made time to sit down and watch it. It was fantastic, but definitely going to need to go to the theater to see that one.
Yeah. He says, don't scrub it, Jordan. Light strokes.
I know. Sorry. Sorry.
Did you do it? Did you watch in the living room or did you curl up on your bed?
I actually just sat right here and watched it.
Oh.
I do all my model building when I work from home. I do it from right here as well. I do most of my TV watching right here. We have the TV out in the living room and all that, but like when Kat's in bed or what have you. Yeah, I don't know. Just I tend to hang out in here in my little cave.
It sounds like a nice little movie night.
Yes,
hopefully
indeed.
you didn't leave a Deadpool in the bed.
Don't tell me what to do. Steven, thanks for joining. It is 2:36 a.m. Good night to you, sir. Thanks for joining us. Wow. Yeah, Ken says I could hear you scrubbing. I was. I did on a couple of spots. I that is a learned habit. That's how I handled the weathering on the Slave 1 when I did. Always nice to bring this model out. When I did this effect on the model and pulled that paint off, I was doing the scrubbing and I did it with this brush. And so I don't know. I'm just I decided scrubbing for no particular reason at all. But yeah, I was scrubbing for a second. I ain't gonna lie. All right, let's go ahead and get this bad boy cleared up, and then we should be getting towards wrapping this up for the night. Holy crap, man. It's been 2.5 hours already. This is insane. Crazy. Do you guys use a separate airbrush for if you have another airbrush? Do you guys use a different one for clear coating and priming, or do you just use the same airbrush for everything?
I don't know about everybody else, but I do.
Use the same airbrush for everything?
No, I use my cheap Neo for clear coats.
Yeah, so I was just about to do the same thing, and I was just wondering if that was weird. Because the stuff is like glue, right? And I don't want that glue.
I don't want to gum up my detail brush with it. Since clear coating is typically a broad stroke kind of thing.
Exactly.
But really, if you clean your airbrush, it doesn't matter. Ken uses the same airbrush. I mean, it just
same
depends.
Airbrush.
Yeah,
okay.
I have two, so I use them for that. So
yeah,
I also blow metallics. Try to blow metallics through my Iwata because metallics, have a coarser pigments and obviously metallics in them, and sometimes that's hard to clean out. So, but that's
The Iwata, I've noticed, handles metallics incredibly well. Oh god! Wow, I just hooked it up without bothering to.
forget something.
I forgot to hook it up to the airbrush before I decided to plug the line in, and so it was just blowing air everywhere. What I noticed with the Iwata is it handles metallics really well. This one doesn't. When I ran copper through it for and this is the Avanti. This is what I'm about to use for my clear right now. The Harbor Freight Special. When I was running the copper for the nacelle mod on the Enterprise, when I did that on this, I had the hardest time in the world getting this thing clean to get all that copper out. That's why I was like, does the ultrasonic cleaner work really well? And so that was kind of the impetus for that question. Because I've noticed that some airbrushes just do not handle certain types of paint. And like this MadWorks that Ian gave me doesn't really like to do anything other than primers. So it's interesting. It really is interesting to me.
Ken says clear the brush right away up to spraying. Yep, I agree with that.
Yep. I tend to do that always, but I did leave the copper around for one night, and that was stupid.
Oh god, and that's very gummy. The copper.
Yep. I haven't sprayed on this thing in a minute. The thing that I don't like about this brush,
and it doesn't hurt, by the way, if you haven't used your airbrush, run some thinner through it first before you put paint in.
See that.
You know what I mean? Like when I first grab an airbrush, if I haven't used it for a day, even just a day, I will pull it out, and put a half a pot of thinner in it, and then just spray it into the pot. And I'll keep pulling the trigger, right, just in case there's a little paint inside the nozzle or on the needle or something like that.
Right.
I just over and over and over again, just to kind of get cleaner through the nozzle and around the needle. And
so one thing I noticed with this one is the design is very similar to the Iwata, except for the needle, this little piece right here.
Mm-hmm.
Is not part of the cap.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one gets stuck quite a bit.
They make all sorts of different kinds. So
yep.
Some the nozzle's part of the nozzle or part of the front cap. Some of it's separate. Some you need a wrench. Some are just slide in nozzles.
The one that came with my little handheld compressor in the beginning. Oh my god, that was the worst airbrush ever.
PJ says, I have two Iwata HPCs. One's a daily driver, gets used more or less for everything. The other is exclusively for 2K clear coats. Yeah.
Wow.
And Ken says metallics really make you need to do a full cleaning. Yeah, I agree. But I tear down my brush at least to the point of pulling the needle every time I paint. So
really,
I've gotten a little. I used to do it between every color. I don't do that anymore. If I have to shoot multiple colors in a session, I will try to use warm water. It works better when you're cleaning up the brush, but then use like a pipette to basically blow the water in and out of the pot because it'll help clean that bottom bowl. And then I take everything apart down at least to the point where I don't pull the nozzle out. But I'll pull the foot cap off and pull the needle out and clean all that stuff out with Q-tips. But as I got lazier, I would start shooting multiple colors during a session. I always save the metallics for last, and I would go for the lightest colors to the darkest colors. Right. So if I shoot white, I'm going to start with white, and then I can go to a yellow, or then do a red, and then do a black, and then do a metallic. And I'll just use airbrush cleaner between each shot until it's shooting clear. I'll spray it on a towel, or I'll spray it on something. If it shoots clear, I'll just move on to the next color. And at the end, I'll do a full teardown.
Wow, that's a lot harder than I go. But that's great tips, and I will definitely do that tonight. All right, one of the things I've learned with this airbrush and clears. I need to be, and clears in general, I need to be far away from the model.
Balance of pressure. Could be shooting too high a pressure, too low. Ken is asking us if we are available for a conversation after the stream. Of course. Yeah, we can.
For a minute, I can probably hop into for a moment after the stream. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I just need to be done by about 7 or so. As soon as we finish clearing this up, we'll go ahead and wrap up. So yeah, absolutely.
I thought Todd would be building his boat to catch up. What boat? Oh, the U-96? Are you talking about the U-96? I'm doing that tomorrow night on the stream.
Yeah, Todd always offers to help produce. Never assume anything, of course, because we all have our daily lives.
Oh, I really wanted to take a nap after work, but here I am. Keep me awake.
That's this cheap Avanti airbrush continues to amaze me over time. I haven't used it since getting the Iwata. And other than a little bit of bubbling that I'm happening at lower pressures, this is spraying so incredibly nice. Yeah, this is spraying so nice. I am so happy with that.
Well, something I learned with pressures is, the thicker the paint, the more pressure it needs, but you really only want it to be high enough that it can atomize the paint, right?
Exactly.
Too low and you can get splatter. Too high and you'll get spider webs. But that's usually only if you have viscous paint. Like I can shoot Vallejo Model Air. If I thin it, then I can use it like Tamiya at like 18 to 20 or something. If I want to use it straight out of the bottle, I got to shoot like 28. But I can.
Yep.
But the higher the pressure, the farther away you usually have to be. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm shooting this right now at 30, and it really likes it. I'm about 6 to 8 inches away as far as...
Have you ever done the trick where you spray it on the back of your hand?
Yes.
Because you can feel it. You can feel, because it'll be cool. You'll feel the paint, and you can see if it's an even coat. You can feel if it's,
I don't know where I learned that. I think it was one of those guys that does miniature painting tutorials for like Warhammer. And he was talking about using the back of your hand for that. And I've done it now most times. I actually just did it off screen as I was getting going here, just to make sure I had flow. And especially like with the clear, I needed to make sure that it was actually flowing out. It was hard to see.
You'll have to speak up when your compressor's running. It's trying to
sorry.
noise cancel you down.
I had to... I did that off camera right before we got started, clearing here. And it's funny that you bring that up. I was like, oh, yeah, I should mention that I do that every single time. My room smells like alcohol right now.
Oh, good old Tamiya? Is that what you're shooting?
Yeah. Yep. All right. And the one spot that I didn't clear so I could grab it. Right there. Come around from the other side. And there we are. All right, we'll let that dry for a minute or two as we finish up here. Get my airbrush all cleaned up. So I think that's what I got tonight, my friends. Let's make sure. It took me a while to build those first four issues. Howard, that's super fascinating. I'm glad you're building the U-boat. Todd, I'm also super excited for you. I can't wait to vicariously follow along with that build. It's super cool. And Howard just mixed 2 different types of paint that turn into strings.
Oh, yeah.
I found if you want to create spider webs, if you put Mr. Metal Primer R Mr. Metal Primer R into an airbrush and spray it, it turns into spider webs.
No, excellent.
Yep, found that one out. So
Well, it's like the first time I tried to dilute Vallejo with alcohol. Oh, yeah, don't do that.
Cottage cheese.
Yeah, PJ says I shoot thin Tamiya's at 5 to 8. Yep, you can go down there. Zero
5 to
paints at 10 to
8?
12, and 2K at 15 to 20 works for him. Yep. Oh yeah.
Wow.
You'd be surprised. A lot of people push it way too high.
So I usually paint at about 18 psi is where I tend to be happiest. But 5 to 8 psi.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you get really close, like when we were in the class and I was showing you how to draw lines with your airbrush real close, and you could lower the pressure real low. You just need just enough to atomize it. The more pressure, the farther it may go, the more paint might push out. But you can get it to paint at very low pressures.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to experiment with that. Once again, like airbrushing is something that I'm still very new at doing. And
see, we could all benefit from an airbrush class, me included.
Yes, 100%.
I do the same thing, Ken. Spray by sound. You can hear it. You can hear when it's literally spitting paint. You can hear it when it's blasting paint. You can hear it when the air is hitting the model so hard that you can hear that the pressure's too high.
I heard that on the Razor Crest when I was spraying the lacquers for the first time. And when you guys pointed out that I was going too thick, too fast, immediately could pick out that sound now. I guess I kind of do it by sound too. Very interesting. And Eric says, and this is exactly why I need an airbrush class. Yeah, I mean, I learned a few things tonight as well. And that's the beauty of doing all of this, is the ability to learn and pick up information from everyone that actually knows what the hell they're doing. I gotta say, once that settles in, very interesting. I like it. Yeah, it turned out pretty good.
That's good.
Still needs to settle in a little bit, but it definitely toned down a lot of those bright edges. I think I may need to come back again. And maybe a wash might not be too bad to put over the top of this now that we have that flat clear on. Something like that might not be too bad. So we'll reapproach this in the next stream next week and give this a chance to dry. So, very, very cool. Well, I think, my friends, it's been almost 3 hours. I think that's going to be about enough for me. Well, first up, Gary, if you're still here, thank you. This is incredible. Like, just out of control, amazing. The craftsmanship here is, wow, just amazing. And I agree with whoever said it. I think it may have been Eric, but you should definitely think about creating these and selling these. These are fantastic. And this was a kingly gift, sir, and I really do appreciate you sending this over. I am going to make sure that this has a spot right up here up on my desk for I don't know if we'll always be able to see it, but when we get over to this camera, for instance, well, I was sitting just like that, something like that. Oh, there's one of my other tattoos. God, I forget that I have that one sometimes. So yeah, but that's what I got. I don't really know what to say at the end of streams, so it was, as usual, I really appreciate all you guys sticking around and watching, hanging out. There was quite a few of you here for a very long time, and I am humbled by the fact that you guys like to hang out and talk and do all the things. And then for you, Todd, thank you for hanging out and for producing and for all the ideas. It is very much appreciated, and it's a great time to be able to hang out and, just pick the brain and just have someone to talk to on stream that's an actual voice instead of just a bunch of chat boxes. So, which is pretty cool. Gary, thank you, sir. PJ, thank you. So yeah, that's what I got today. I am definitely going to be back next week on Thursday. It's likely so for this week, the slate of episodes, I don't have the Falcon. I'm still missing stage 32. By the way, they said they were going to ship it, and then it turned out to not ship, Todd. So
What? Really?
I don't have stage 32, and I'm getting ready to go buy one from Japan.
Oh God. Oh God, I just got 47 to 51 today.
Yeah, they sent me. I have 47 to 51 on the way, but they still have not included stage 32, so I can't move on. I literally, when I got to stage 39 and finished the ramp assembly, that's as far as I can go because everything else that they like, I need that last frame piece in order to make this work. So I'm contemplating just buying one from Japan. There's one for like I think like $22 shipped or whatever. So
Oh, that's not bad.
yeah, it's not too bad. And I actually just sold. Fan Home mistakenly sent me stage 5 for when they were trying to send me stage 4 to replace that piece that broke way early on. And so they sent me stage 5, and I just sold that one for like $10 on eBay. So hopefully, be able to get that back on the turn side. So no Falcon this week. I am going to get the Razor Crest out on Sunday, and if I'm feeling inspired, I will try to get something out for tomorrow. I haven't.
Hey, I just found one for $15 in Brazil.
Really?
Yep.
Fantastic news.
Because that's where they're shipping them from anyway. I just went to eBay.com in Brazil. It's $15. There's
Perfect.
one left, and it's new.
All right. I'm going to be ordering that.
3 people have this in their cart. Uh-oh.
Oh, well.
$24 to ship it to the U.S.? Woo!
How much?
$24.
Oh, my God. The one from Japan will be cheaper.
Okay.
It's 15 plus 8, so it's 23.
That's crazy.
Yeah, super nuts, but it's not a big deal. But I need that one to move on, so I'm probably just gonna have the episode coming out on Sunday for the Razor Crest, and then I will be on stream tomorrow night with Hobby Time Modelers, and then I'll be back next week on Thursday for the usual shenanigans. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Let's see here.
Howard would like to know what stage you're looking for. He needs 32.
32.
There's a bunch of them on eBay. They're all over the place.
Yeah. I was just kind of looking 32. A lot of people I've noticed in the fan home community of 32 is one of those ones that they were dismissing. So Howard, if you got it, let me know. Message me on Discord. I'll be glad to arrange shipping and all that. So yeah, just let me know. But otherwise, I just want to say thank you. I guess I'll use the usual outro. I've thought about trying to create something for a live stream outro, but
look at this. He's got it.
You got that stage and you could send it? Oh, Howard. Hit me up. Send me a friend request and a private message on Discord, and we'll exchange, and I will go ahead and I'll send you some stickers and some money early. So there we go. Awesome, Howard. That is fantastic news. Love when the community comes together and helps each other out. That is fantastic. I love it. That's quicker than Brazil and quicker than Japan, and I can get to making videos again soon. So message me on Discord, Howard, and we'll go from there. So thank you all for watching. I know that there was a million things you all could have done. Instead, you spent 3 hours watching me build a model, several models, half of a model, paint a model. I don't know what the hell I did tonight, but I did something, and I just want to say thank you. If there's guys have any questions or comments left for the stream, just hit them down below. I don't know where the hell I'm pointing now. And if you guys want to subscribe and you're already not, please consider doing so. And otherwise, I just want to say thank you. Wow. My words are just completely escaping me. So,
say bye.
Bye. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Good night, guys.
In this wonderful world we live in.
That's right. Wherever you happen to be in this beautiful world, where you happen to be. Let's just say it all. I hope you all have a wonderful day, night in this world, wherever you happen to be. And 2 men can make a difference.
All right. Good night, everybody.